Welcome race fans to the iconic Sebring International Raceway, where history is made and legends are born. Today, the world's finest GT drivers converge for yet another thrilling chapter on the 2026 GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS season. From the infamous hairpin of Sunset Bend to the heart-stopping speed of the Le Mans curve, this track is a test of skill and the determination. But veteran drivers will tell you at Sebring, respect the bumps. Oh, and there's another competitor here this weekend, that Florida Sunshine. Let's head over to our SRO America commentators, Calvin Fish and Ryan Marine, for more.
Thanks very much, Amanda. Sebring certainly is one of the classic venues in North American road racing, and if this place wasn't difficult enough, Calvin, then you've got to factor in the weather here this weekend. It is hot.
It's going to be a huge test for the drivers here this weekend. Sebring is the ultimate challenge for the engineers to get the car working over the bumps. Then when you think about 3 hours here, it's like 6 hours at any other circuit. And then the temperatures, we're looking at ambience in the low 90s to start this race, only dropping to the high 80s by the checkered flag. This is going to be an arduous test for everyone here this weekend.
Big challenge lies ahead. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, we were racing at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Let's take a quick look back on what transpired in the Lone Star State. Lights out on the safety car. The race is on at Circuit of the Americas. Mackay Stevens leads the charge up the hill. Oh, and problems. Problems for Todd Coleman in the McLaren. Puncture on the left rear of his car. The timing of this yellow could not be better for these three cars. Wright Motorsports in particular made the call to get to the pit lane, and they come out just at the right time. This could be a strategic masterpiece for these three. The rest of the field now pitting, but the three cars that were in before the yellow, they cycle up to the lead. Battle on the track here. Colin Brown fighting for that position side by side. Michael Grenier doesn't want to give it up. Oh, contact there, Grenier. Oh, really tight down the front straightaway. Late move by Grenier. He's had to serve a drive-through penalty and has a 5-second time penalty. It's a win on the road for JMF, but an overall win on adjusted time for Wright. Therese Laloux and Thomas Merrill second, and Ryan Yardley and Dave Busual take the top step.
Therese Laloux is the latest female to find herself on a paddock here in SRO America. And I've heard women say a lot of times that a race car knows no gender. How true is that statement?
I think it's absolutely true. The car definitely doesn't care, and that's one of the mantras I try to have. I do think, just like street cars, cars aren't necessarily designed with women in mind. So there's things like the brake pedal or the floor panel that need to be adjusted. And so I think it's really great to have the other women out in GT4 America, because we can sort of cross notes on that and see if there's any safety adaptations we can do to make these cars a little bit more suited to our smaller stature.
Walk us through when you knew you were going to be on the podium at COTA in your second race with us.
I didn't believe it until he literally crossed the line. Like, I couldn't watch. I wasn't expecting to be that nervous, but I just felt like I was gonna jinx it if I watched from the pit stand. So I just went back to the trailer, got in the air conditioning, kept Kenton Cook actually watching the timing for me. I couldn't watch myself, and until he crossed, I couldn't believe it. And it was actually Lonnie and Erica coming up to me to congratulate me that it finally hit me. And I actually cried a little bit when they came over. I was so proud to have done that.
I feel like you have this drive, and just standing near you, this energy of relentlessness. Where does that come from?
They always called me Hurricane Therese. Since I was a little kid, I've always had a lot of energy. I like to say I was born caffeinated, but I came out of 3-star Michelin kitchens, and when we won Best Restaurant in the World in 2017, I really got a glimpse at what it takes to be the best in the world, and it really requires that relentless pursuit of excellence and dedication. And so I try to bring that mindset to the racing and use the benefit of my life experience, because what I lack in maybe motorsport experience, I can use with my more advanced age in life experience to help me here.
What are your goals?
Le Mans. Since I watched the movie Senna in 2016 and I found out motorsport existed, and since I found out about Le Mans as a race, and I always wanted to go to the Olympics, and for me I think this is like the Olympics of motorsport, so really hoping to get that first female podium at Le Mans.
She's Therese Laloux, her co-driver is Thomas Merrill. You'll see him this weekend.
One of the absolute best stories to come out of the Circuit of the Americas weekend. But you can't rest on your laurels in racing, that's for sure, and we're about to do it all over again. Third race of the season, and it happens here, the crucible of American endurance racing, Sebring International Raceway, and it couldn't get more challenging than this. The racetrack, the heat, we're about to go, Cal.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. This is going to be a supreme challenge. We talk about the racetrack, the bumps, getting the race car to handle, but these heat and the conditions. We've had drivers who just got out of a GT America race. They've already seen some action. They've got a strap right back in and go for it. And we're looking at drivers doing maybe 100 minutes straight at the end of these races, depending on their driver's strategy and rotation. That is going to be a big ask here today in these hot conditions.
It's been a talking point in sports media here the last month or so. Are race car drivers really athletes? Well, I guarantee you have to be to make it through this 3-hour race in the Florida heat that is about to take place here at Sebring. Pre-race festivities about to get underway. Here for the national anthem, it's Rebecca Wills.
They're going in front of me. Colors? Colors.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Rebecca Wills with the national anthem, color guard from the cadets of the Highlands County Composite Squadron Civil Air Patrol. Great crowd down on the grid getting ready for this upcoming race. Part of a global GT world all around the world. SRO so instrumental in building GT racing, and North America is just one part of it. GT3 is a truly global platform competing around the world of SRO. Some great manufacturers like Aston Martin and their Vantage, Audi and their illustrious R8, BMW and the M4 GT3 Evo. Also, the likes of Chevrolet with the great Corvette. Throw into the equation the prancing horse of Ferrari and the new 296 Evo, the Ford Mustang and the Coyote V8 engine that's famous and a fan favorite the world over. Lamborghini with its new Temerario, as well as the Huracan, and McLaren with the 720S. Plus, of course, stalwarts like Mercedes AMG out of Germany, and their counterparts Porsche with the venerable 911. And just last weekend at the beautiful Mandalika circuit in Indonesia, GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, got back underway. Sean Galisle had the pole position for race 1 on home soil, but an early safety car for this incident threw the strategy up in the air and opened up the opportunity for Chen Kung Fu and Yu Kuai. Galisle had a longer pit stop than the others, running as a solo driver, and that helped Kung Fu and Kuai get to the lead, and they took race 1 honors. While in race 2, Luke Hartog from pole position went on to get the victory, teamed up with Anthony Liu to take a lights to flag win. Meanwhile, GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup got underway at Brands Hatch with a phenomenal crowd on hand to take in a pair of races that saw the pairing of Bastian Boos and Ricardo Feller sweep both pole positions. But this heavy crash for Robin Knudsen on the opening lap brought out an early red flag. After the pit stops, it was the Verstappen Racing Mercedes at the front, but various penalties resulted in a Ferrari win with Neubauer and Leclerc, while Bastian Boos and Ricardo Feller got the win in race 2. Meanwhile, just last night in GT World Challenge Australia, Sergio Perez and Brendan Leach started from pole position at the bend. Their Mercedes AMG led the way to turn number 1 at the start, but behind, Darren Curry goes for a spin. Later on, Brad Schumacher, a rare miscue, he too has his spin. That cost him a chance at the podium, but at the front, Perez and Leach took the victory, the first career win for Perez, and the duo became the third different crew in as many races to take overall honors this year. After the race, global manufacturers' points look like this. Porsche leads Mercedes AMG, but it is close at the top of the standings. Ferrari and BMW third and fourth, with Audi Sport in fifth position.
Well, you're going to see Alex Sedgwick getting ready to get behind the wheel of this Ford Mustang. They did qualify fourth here in Pro to kick off this race and fourth overall, but it has been quite a week and weekend, especially for you with the welcoming of a baby boy Jet this week. But you got a phone call that you weren't expecting on Friday.
Yeah, Friday was a great day, being home with our newborn, and Morgan and Jet are doing awesome, which is great. Riley's home, everybody's happy and healthy, but going to the airport to get here, I actually got a few texts asking if I was okay because my name was on timing and scoring when we had a brake failure. So super happy that Alex is feeling okay. Really proud of the guys for working literally all night. I don't think they went back to the Airbnb at all. Showered at the track. So really happy to have a car for the race today. We qualified fourth. We'd love to be a little higher, but we think we have a good car for the long run. It's going to be a long, hot 3 hours.
Seemingly everything is okay with the race car except for one thing. What's that?
We are missing the AC now, which Ford did a great job with that, and so we are missing it a little bit. Luckily, there's some clouds and some breeze that kicked in. The sun's going to be going down, but yeah, we're going to push through as best we can with no AC and try to bring out the best result we can get out of it.
Well, it's nice to see this Ford Mustang back on the grid here to start this race. I'm going to move one car over to the Triarzi entry of the Ferrari 296, who's racing here in Pro-Am and took the pole. You'll see Sebastian Mascaro going behind the wheel of that Ferrari. I'm told that we're going to see them maybe yet again this season at Road America with intent to race a full season in GT World Challenge in 2027. And Ricardo, as I catch up with you, Sebastian was telling me that was his first ever race in a GT3 format 2 weekends ago at COTA. How are you guys getting up to speed so fast?
Well, I think we both did a good job. First of all, Sebastian, because he doesn't have much of a time on this car. He just drove a couple of tests before COTA, and then COTA was helpful to improve the confidence while driving, and he put everything together this time, so I'm very proud of him. He's doing an amazing job between Ferrari Challenge, starting with Ferrari Challenge and now in GT3, so I can't be happier, so let's see what the race, how the race goes, and yeah.
Love to see that for the Triarzi team, especially as a home race for these guys out of Orlando, and look forward to what is coming for this group. I'm going to move over one more slot over to the TR3 entry. I find Daniel Morad sitting on the guardrail as we get ready. Brayton looked great today.
Yes, he did. He was a star. Considering how little experience he has, he really over-delivered. I think we finally had a few minutes to work together, because I got thrown into this program last second in COTA, and I'm big on the sim, and Brayton and I connected now. We just hit it off. We're good buddies, and we've been working on the sim together. His level has just gone to a whole new one. So let's see if he can deliver in the race. We've worked a lot in the racecraft. That's something that we lacked at COTA. This is a long race today. It's a race of attrition, especially here at Sebring with the bumps. So it's going to be a long one, and it's going to be a hot one.
Good luck to all our competitors, and it was success, an overall win at the Circuit of the Americas that gifts a lap around the track at Sebring International to Ryan Yardley.
Hi, I'm Ryan Yardley, driver of the number 31 Right Motorsport GT3R. Here's a lap of Sebring International Raceway. So still on a bit of a prep lap here, heading into turn 1 of the best corners here in North America. Super high speed, super committed, and extremely bumpy on the exit of turn 1 here. Making sure you're not dropping any wheels in the dirt on exit, and then setting yourself up for the turn 3 brake zone. Through turn 3 here, short, sharp, turn 4, and into a tricky turn 5. Extremely hard to get on the throttle here, especially in the hot Sebring weather. And make sure you have a good exit heading down to turn 7, one of the best passing spots on the circuit. Looking for the brake markers, another brakey, bumpy brake zone, trying to avoid the bumps on entry. And first gear corner, the slowest corner on the track. Careful not to drop wheels on exit, and have another good run down to turn 10, another good passing opportunity if you get a good exit out of turn 7. Down here at turn 10, really fun little corner. Use all the exit and set up for the flat out double left-hander here. Heading into turn 13, or more well known for Tower. Again, another tricky brake zone, never really braking with the straight hands. Very bumpy on the approach, and very easy to drop wheels on exit, so very careful not to drop on exit there. Another flat out double left here in the GT3R. Super fun on the approach here to turn 15. And these corners are really off-cambered here, falling away there at turn 15, also falling away here at turn 16. Really prioritize the exit onto the back straight. Still burning some tire temperature here, but yeah, focusing on turn 17, another highly committed corner. Super bumpy on the approach, but yeah, really fun and awesome corner, probably the best on the track here. Into turn 17, and focusing on being full throttle by under the bridge here. So that's a lap of Sebring International Raceway.
It is an amazing place, rich history that goes back 3/4 of a century. That was an awesome view of this place, eh, Cal?
Yeah, it was a great ride there with Ryan as he was just getting up to speed there. A flat-out lap is even more awe-inspiring. But you look at this racetrack, about 3 3/4 miles in length, 17 really challenging corners, 2 of which I feel are most demanding in all of North American motorsports. That's turn 1, that blind apex through there really takes huge amount of commitments. That final corner, Sunset Bend, that'll be a factor as the sun drops here late in this race. And turn 17, the bumps there are just wild. It's like riding a mechanical bull coming through there, but these concrete runways still exist. You've got almost a mile of the racetrack still existing on the concrete, so the bumps are there. There's a chatter through the suspension. Getting the engineers to get a car that you can be comfortable with is really a key for this long endurance race here this afternoon.
You won the 12-hour race here several decades ago, not to date you, Cal. Where does that achievement rank on your career CV?
Well, I didn't appreciate it at the time, to be honest with you. I won on debut here, and everyone's saying, like, wow, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, what's the big deal? And then you continue to come back and don't even get close to victory. So it's a massive challenge. And but I love the rhythm of the track. I really love the layout. I like the fact you can go side by side through multiple corners and really just try and use your racecraft to make a pass stick. But this is going to be tough. I mean, I really feel with the heat could be a factor, not only in terms of strategy of how you do your driver rotation, but mistakes. Could we see more cautions here with drivers having fatigue and making those mental errors?
These starting drivers getting strapped in these cars, they know that to get the strategy right, chances are they'll need to do 75 straight minutes right out of the box. They're already feeling the heat. What can you do to prepare yourself for what's to come?
Well, it's too late to do it today. It's really all about the prep and the run-up to a weekend like this. They certainly got a taste of at Coda. We got a little bit lucky race day at Coda. It was a bit more cloud cover, and the ambience were like mid to high 80s. We're in the mid 90s to start this race. It has clouded over a little bit, so that's really a great relief. And when we look at the forecast, it looked like it was going to ramp up. It's already started to ramp down a little bit. We anticipated like 95 at the race start. It's almost down to the low 90s now. So that's that little bit of extra relief you're looking for, but it's still going to be tough. It's not only that 75 minutes at the front end, it's when you leave the other driver to do almost 100 minutes to finish it off.
If it wasn't hot already, it's about to warm up when these race engines fire to life. That's about to happen in about 3 seconds time down there on the grid. There's the command, and listen in. That's what we've been waiting for all weekend long. It's built to this crescendo, about to go racing for 3 hours at one of the classic circuits in North American racing. Qualifying earlier today threw a couple spanners into the works, Calvin, especially in session number 1. There was a red flag, which meant a lot of drivers never had a chance to really set a representative lap time. It's a combined qualifying time between the two drivers that sets the grid. So for those that didn't have a chance in Q1, they might be mired down the order further than they should be on outright pace.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of cars that are out of position. The car that has been fastest leading up to qualifying was the GMG Racing Porsche with Tom Sargent. Kyle Washington just didn't get a good lap put together by the time the red flag came out, so it's kind of buried them deep in the pack. Kyle's coming off an excellent podium run in GT America less than an hour ago, so he's going to be certainly warmed up well and truly. Issue here for that Dollar Height Racing number 6. Key is to get going before the full field takes off. Otherwise, you're going to have to start from the very back, and this is just potentially a big blow for this group. They had to work really hard. Looks like he's got life now, and now he takes off. That is so important. He can reassume his grid position. If the whole field had gone by, he would have had to start at the back.
That car basically had to be totally rebuilt after a testing crash. Brake failure, always a scary thing, but Alex Sedgwick was all right. Car good enough to qualify 4th overall for this race. Here are the pole sitters. It is the Rova overall pole position for JMF Motorsports, Mackay Stevens, Mikhail Grenier. Pro-Am pole, how about Sebastian Mascaro and Ricardo Agostini? Really great effort for them. And then in the M class, Jay Schreibman and Oz Negri. They'll start 17th overall here today with a lot of work to do just to get to the end of this 3-hour race. Here's the starting grid. As mentioned, Rova Motor Oil Pole Award to Mackay Stevens for JMF Motorsports along with Mikhail Grenier, but Matthias Paris Compact and of course a strong qualifying effort. They'll line up in 2nd. Justin Rothberg on the inside of row number 2. He'll start 3rd alongside Alex Sedgwick. Hope all is well with the Dollar Height Mustang. Sebastian Mascaro, just his 2nd race weekend at the GT3 level on the pole in Pro-Am next to Brayton Williams. Heard from his co-driver Daniel Morad a few moments ago. Jason Daskelos beaten to pole for the first time all year in Pro-Am. He'll line up 7th next to Todd Coleman in the Archangel Motorsports McLaren. Then it's the 5th of the Pro Cars. Michael McCann Jr. will get the start alongside Dave Musial Jr. coming off of an overall win the last time out at COTA. Kyle Washington was racing less than an hour ago in GT America. He's in his new race car ready to go for at least 75 minutes here next to JP Martinez. Home racetrack for JP. They've got high hopes today. Derek DeBoer for Random Vandals Racing and Therese Lalou, 2nd at Circuit of the Americas in just her 2nd GT3 start. Then it's John Gilliland for Kelly Moss and Slade Stewart in the BMW for Riley Technologies. Jay Schreibman shares his car with the veteran Oz Negri. Frank Depew making his 2nd start in the championship, lining up 17th and 18th. And at the back, Todd Perriott, Michael Clark. Those cars didn't set fast enough times in one of the 2 segments of qualifying, so those laps didn't count. Consequently, they start at the back. A lot of that had to do with that red flag I alluded to in qualifying 1, but the good news is they should have lightly used qualifying tires to use in their race stints today. A couple of onboard looks for you. This is Brayton Williams TR3 Racing Mercedes, making its way around the track and onto the Ullman Straight. Here's Frank Depew, Rebel Rock Racing, still very new to racing at the GT3 level, but a high-quality GT4 team for many, many years. And Random Vandals Racing, what a season they had a year ago. New crew, Derek DeBoer joining Hampus Eriksson, mired back in traffic. They will start from 13th overall. Thoughts as we get it ready to go, Cal?
Well, I think everyone's got a lot on their mind in terms of what different strategies may be employed. We saw the early stops really played everyone's favor at Circuit the America. Do we see other teams elect to do that stop maybe as early as 6 laps into this motor race?
That was Jay Schreibman, M-Class car that seemingly has had a problem on the formation lap, hustling to catch back up. The rest of the field, though, in good alignment. as the safety car pulls away and we enter the start zone. There's the green flag, and Mikhail Stevens on the brake gets the jump on Matthias Perez Compact. The blue Ferrari settles back in line. Sedgwick on the attack here early. That is that Dollarhide Mustang. He only got one lap of practice before qualifying with all the issues they've had, but he's sending it around the outside. Mustang up to P2.
Todd Coleman in the Origin Blue. Archangel Motorsport McLaren off and on there on the exit of turn 1. Drama in the back of the pack. A little bit of contact there in Christensen corner, turn 3.
That was Slade Stewart in the BMW into Gilliland in the cow-themed Porsche. Everyone able to continue on. Brayton Williams getting shuffled back here. He just had the Archangel McLaren go around. Todd Coleman picking up a spot. Also fighting for that position right there is Musial taking a peek to the outside, and DeBoer too in the mix in the run down to turn 7.
Yeah, big field and a lot of traffic there down in that turn 7 brake zone, just trying to coexist, settle in, get into a rhythm. Tires are going to come up to temperature really quickly. What a start by Alex Sedgwick from the second row of the grid. They had minimal track time with this race car. Great performance by the pair of drivers in qualifying, and Dollarhide Racing putting the pressure on JMF for the lead early.
Crew is here as long as was permitted, putting that car back together. They missed basically 2 practice sessions, barely got out at the tail end of practice 2 ahead of qualifying. Alex did 1 lap. Cameron Lawrence did a handful. They qualified that car 4th on the grid, had the scare on the grid as we saw a few moments ago, but all seems ship-shape for the moment. Alex Sedgwick runs 2nd.
Yeah, fortunately for them, that problem happened and they got it sorted before the whole field had gone by. He's able to reassume the track position. Is Slade Stewart there looking to the inside of Washington. Different race car, but similar car, so he should be able to get into a rhythm really quickly here, Kyle, that is.
Exactly so. Just did a 40-minute sprint race at GT America, powered by AWS. Hopped pretty much straight into this car on the pre-grid after celebrating a podium in that race. Oh, this is a late lunge. Martinez to the inside of Gilliland. Little bit of contact between the two.
Wow, he got really late to the brake zone. Had a little twitch there. Car not totally dialed in just yet. That was a brave move by Martinez. Couldn't quite pull it off.
You know, he is raring to go. Felt like this was a great chance for him. He's used to the Florida weather. He lives here in Florida. So too his teammate Jan Halen. So too the entire team, actually, from RS1. Didn't get the best qualifying result, but you just don't know how much of that was based on the timing of that red flag that caught out so many of the teams.
Pro class is split here up front. Stevens and Sedgwick are taken off a little bit from Perez Compact and Justin Rothberg for Turner Motorsport.
And Sedgwick's really feeling it, isn't he? This Evo version of the Mustang took a big step in performance at tight tracks like this. This traditionally was not the strong suit of the old generation Mustang, but this Evo kit has changed the game.
Yeah, I also wonder how much help they got from Ultimatic, who competed here in the 12-hour with this Evo kit on the Mustang, so maybe they got some good setup information to start the weekend with.
By the way, incident under review. That was Slade Stewart into Gilliland. Saw that, what was that, turn 3, turn 4, something like that on the opening lap. Race control taking a peek at that right now. Working lap number 2 with Stevens showing the way, but under a whole heap of pressure from Alex Sedgwick.
Yeah, really curious to see how the driver rotation works in terms of the strategy here. We saw when this Dollarhide Racing team elect to do single stints at Sonoma when we started the championship season. That got them on the podium, particularly with the heat here. Talked about the fact they don't have their driver coolant system working. Do they employ the same strategy this weekend? But we also spoke to Mick Grenier about when would they potentially stop. We said, well, we did observe stopping early really worked out for a bundle of cars at Circuit the Americas. So this is going to be interesting here in about 5 minutes time to see who does a different strategy on the front end of this race.
On board with Michael McCann in the slipstream of Jason Daskalos. This is for 6th and 7th overall. McCann up and over those bumps. Daskalos out a little wider. McCann able to keep it tighter, but advantage to the Mercedes at least this time through.
Yeah, McCann Jr. Rothberg looking at the inside on Perez Compact. That's for P3 overall and in the pro class. Dust flying there on the exit of turn 1.
Compact was really quick in the second practice. Actually had the best lap in that car, which says something when his teammate is the highly esteemed Fred Schandorf. Oh no, problems here for Therese Lalou, who was on the podium the last time out. Looks like that car has dropped off the pace for some reason at the back of the pack now.
Yeah, really slow there coming through 17. Doesn't seem to be fully on song here coming down the front straightaway, so you know, this situation evolves, whether she's got a bigger technical issue going on or whether she's just recovering for a moment on the racetrack.
She and Thomas Merrill got to sip the champagne on the podium at COTA, a second place finish in the Pro-Am class. They played the strategy extremely well there, Calvin. Let's set the table for what we might expect teams to do.
Well, one thing to consider, you got to do 75 minutes minimum drive time. Do you elect to knock that out early with that first driver and get them out of the car as soon as possible? If you want to do that, you could pit. If you're in the 10 to 11 minute range, that's being super aggressive, because then you're only allowed 65 minutes maximum stint length. So you add the two together, you're trying to get to 75. I would say if you start 12 minutes in, that would allow you on that second stint when you come out the pit lane to be shy of that 65 minute mark, still knock out the 75. You've also got to do 3 full fuel stops as well, so you could get into that equation as well, knock one of those out early. Key is staying on that lead lap. That's a long lap here. Your pit lane delta, what you're going to lose is 79 seconds by coming down pit lane, so it's really easy to go down a lap. That's the concern, I think.
Now that's something that this team, Right Motorsports, will have to think about, having lost so much ground. I think this is why we're on board with Frank Depew. Look ahead. We'll catch the end of it. Yeah. Oh, that's not what you want if you're Frank coming around unsighted through Sunset Bend.
Yeah, we suddenly caught Therese just getting back up to speed, but up front, pressure is on for the lead of this motor race. The Brit, Alex Sedgwick, is feeling that behind the wheel of this Dollar Height Racing Ford Mustang. The Evo is working well here. Got a little bit more downforce than the car had last year, and it is showing on this racetrack.
Fastest lap of the race belongs to Alex Sedgwick at this stage. Right there in the slipstream, quarter of a second behind the race leader, Mackay Stevens, down to turn 7 once again. Amazing the way a top-level race car driver like Alex can just get right back on the horse after suffering through something as traumatic as a brake failure.
Yeah, and here we see some action there. Looks like McCann Jr. has got around Daskalos. That's not a position within the class, but certainly important overall for McCann Jr. to move back up this field. Didn't have a great qualifying run. That buried them a little bit in the pack with the combined and average times from both qualifying sessions, but he's on the move for McCann Racing and that Porsche.
On board with Michael, veteran of single-make Porsche racing. He and his co-driver, Zach Vanier, raced against one another in Carrera Cup last year, formed a friendship, and now they're teammates up at the GT3 level here in GT World Challenge America. Man on the move in the early going has been JP Martinez, who again was so bullish about his chances here this weekend. He's got the pink BMW of Slade Stewart in the crosshairs. Martinez, since getting around Gilliland, has run down Stewart and now is trying to find a way by.
Beautiful sequence of corners here, 14, 15, 16. Key is getting on the power early, getting the hands straight, getting that acceleration run down the Ullman straightaway up to speeds about 155 miles an hour.
We caught the result of it, but how did McCann get by Daskalos? This was again for the 6th spot.
Down into turn 7. Like Jason was going to protect the inside lane, then moves back over to the left to set up for his own braking zone, and McCann just put it down the inside. So he's doing a nice job here of cleanly getting through this traffic.
We heard Ryan Yardley talk on the lap of the track about the bumps in the braking zone for turn 7. If you're by yourself, you kind of can drive around them, but if you're trying to make a pass, you're probably going to be compromised, right, with those bumps?
You are. The bumps are kind of over on the left-hand side of the road, kind of as you just initially get on the brakes. It's almost like when you see cars at the Formula 1 Grand Prix at Monaco, you come out of Casino Square, kind of move over to the middle, then back across. So that's what you can do, and kind of just stay in the middle as he's doing right now on a clean lap. Then you see him move back to the left, right there to set up for a nice wide arc into the corner.
Those bumps, if you've never been here before, can you find that on the track walk early in the week?
You can, as we said, the racetrack pretty much stays the same on the concrete, but there has been some patching down there into that brake zone when you're immediately on the line, but they're still there. And that's one of the things, if you've raced here before, you know, if you've racing with a team that has a good notebook, and you can really figure that out over the course of the practice session, particularly if you have an experienced teammate to really kind of give you the guidelines around this racetrack.
Race is settling in, looking at best sector times, and these two cars at the front have the best. Sector 1 and 2 belongs to the Mercedes, but right here in Sector 3, that's where the Ford has shined.
Yeah, and there's a lot of straightaway in this one, so you'd have to feel that's where he's going to close in a little bit on the Mercedes in front of him. But also, how is the long green flag run pace on this Mustang? They really haven't had a lot of track time this weekend, so could that backfire a little bit on them? Certainly in terms of outright pace, they were right there. But this is going to be the real factor of a long green flag run. And we're getting to that point in the race, I'd say, within the next lap or two, if anyone's going to adopt that early stop strategy, you're going to see cars come to pit lane here pretty quickly.
Heard from Michael Grenier, co-driver to Mackay Stevens early in the day. They took notice of that. There weren't pro-class cars that opted to go to that strategy at Circuit of the Americas, but Mikhail made the point, if a pro-class car does do that, they might have to react.
Yeah, they certainly could. It's kind of a domino effect, and they realized that it really cost them the overall track position. They fought hard with it and then lost it ultimately because of the penalties for Michael Grenier late in that race.
Fastest lap of the race, as you saw moments ago, now belongs to Mackay Stevens. Looks like he's settled into his rhythm. Not under the same kind of pressure anymore either. Just pumped in a 2:02.861. Great lap from the JMF Motorsports driver, starting to pull away slightly from Sedgwick, 0.6 of a second at last check. So Martinez and Stewart, they've been dueling for a little while, but Gilliland has arrived on the scene. That's the kind of Holstein cow livery that you're seeing there. And the story goes, John's got a storage company, Move-In Storage or something to that effect, and so he's run cow-themed cars for quite a long time.
Yeah, and he's brought up on a farm and was driving tractors as early as 5 years old, and kind of has continued that theme. Super successful businessman, loves his racing. He's done an awesome job here at the start of this race.
But he's got his hands full because Kyle Washington has just arrived with a head full of steam as well. That's the E-Boost car, brightly colored, right behind. It's a whole bunch of Porsches running together. They certainly have a strength in numbers in this championship, Calvin. You know, sometimes you hear about quality versus quantity, but the saying goes, quantity has a quality all its own.
It does, and the Porsche's a really strong car. They've got a great performance from it, and as you say, it's a popular choice this year, particularly with some stalwart Porsche teams like Calimas Racing joining the championship.
Here is one of those Porsches. This is up in the Pro class. Michael McCann has caught the Pro-Am leader, Sebastian Mascaro. Sebastian doesn't want to put up a fight there. Around goes McCann, and now he has caught up effectively to the rest of his class. Early pit callers are in here, Calvin. Martinez and Washington, the first to take advantage of that potential strategy.
Yeah, I thought about 12 minutes was the safe spot. If you get any more aggressive than that, it could backfire on you a little bit. So here's Therese Lelou getting roughed up here a little bit by Jay Schreibman down into the brake zone for turn 7.
Yeah, she's recovering from that spin, caught the back of the field and got around Jay there. Next up will be Frank Depew. She's apparently cleared Frank as well as we check in live now. Just behind, Depew and Schreibman have a good little fight to work out amongst themselves. Aston versus Ferrari. But here you go, Cal. We've got the earliest cars to the pit lane. Will the rest of the field react?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think certainly for Pro-Am entries, you may want to react to this. The Pro cars, do they elect? They're in their own little battle. So if just one of the Pro cars come in, you'd have to expect that the others would follow suit just to cover them off. Otherwise, you are in the danger zone. If there's a yellow, pit lane is closed, and then you're going to be tumbled down the order a little bit.
There goes Martinez. There goes Washington. Martinez is in the fast lane, so Washington will have to give way by rule if there's any overlap there between the car to the left, effectively, as we see it. And they do, just barely, get in the correct order, leaving the pits, and right off the button, Martinez quickly jumping away as fast as he can.
Yeah, did a really nice job there, just easing back over on line. I'm sure Kyle didn't want to give it up, but the team is reminding him, hey, if there's any overlap, if he's on your flank in that faster lane, he's got priority. But look at this, Sedgwick has regrouped, he's kept the pressure on Stevens. So certainly the Pro class runners are not reacting to those early stoppers just yet anyway.
Yeah, awesome stuff from Sedgwick. On that last lap, a 2:02.728, best lap of the race. We've got a couple of cars coming to the pits again. Here's the leader in Pro-Am covering off that undercut strategy.
79 seconds is the minimum stop time if you take refuel. If you're just doing a driver reset or anything else, you do not have to be on a minimum delta time down there. And both of the early stoppers were 80 and 81 seconds respectively. So good clean stops there for the Pro-Am contenders who hit the pit lane early. Amanda is on pit lane. What are you seeing, Amanda?
It looks like both the right Porsches are making their way down. I see Dave Musial Jr., that car getting tires for their stop, the Triarzi Ferrari. People just keep coming down. I see Therese Lalu on her way. And also, guys, the Ford Mustang team, Dolomite Racing over the wall as well. So I anticipate them making a stop.
There you go. They'd be the first of the pro runners to make that stop, and that may force the hand of some of the others like JMF to follow suit, and that could really change what they laid out as potential strategy.
Only curiosity I have is, as you talked about, they made driver changes at every stop back in Sonoma. Will they elect to do the same there? Or here, I should say.
Stint length was different in round one. It was only 50 minutes versus 65, right. So that changes the game a little bit, but you could elect to get Alex out right now, put Cameron in, put Alex back in, and then Cameron in to finish. And you got plenty of time to do with it. If you're doing one of those 3 refuels that you got to do mandatory on this stop, you think, well, he's only done 10, 11 minutes, but it just fits into the bigger picture of the strategy by pitting early.
So Amanda said to expect the Mustang, not this time at least. Dolomite keeps their car out on track with Sedgwick, losing a little ground that time by. It's been a nip and tuck fight with Sedgwick and Stevens. That lap, Stevens had the edge.
And I think that's going to be the key. Can the Mustang maintain pace? Do they have enough track time here this weekend with all of the issues that they've had since that brake issue and the big crash in turn 10 for Sedgwick very early in the weekend to really have a read on this race car? There you see Cameron Lawrence. He's suited and booted, ready to go.
Quite a week for Cameron. As we heard from Amanda earlier, welcome to baby boy Jet. Congratulations to the Lawrence family. Have his chance in that car here shortly. Hoping slide there from Alex.
Yeah. The other thing that you've got, mandatory, you have to use your qualifying set of tires, both drivers at one point during the race. So they'll have 2 sets of quali tires and 2 sets of stickers to work with.
I've seen a lot of stickers going on. So you would think if you were planning on going short here in this opening stint, you'd run the driver 1 quali set right away.
Yeah, quali set, then stickers, because he's got to use 1 set. You're going to have 2 left because the second driver can't use both sets. So it's the individual driver's qualifying set has to be used by that driver. So when driver number 2 gets in, he at some point, no, it doesn't always have to be the first stint. We actually saw Sargent do a reverse strategy with that at Coda. Went new first on a shorter stint and then put the old tires on. So lots of ways of skinning the cat. There's big windows, big flexibility with the strategy and the template that's been laid down with the guidelines and the technical regs.
This is for the de facto Pro-Am lead here. This Triarzi car was the leader going into this sequence, but I'm not sure he's going to come out in front, at least momentarily. Brayton Williams exits the pits out ahead. I also think, was that Daskalos there?
Yeah, Daskalos
that was ahead.
in front.
So, was that a slow stop for this car, or just great work on the out laps and in laps by those that had pitted earlier?
Yeah, I don't see any bad stops right now. Everyone's right around that 79 to 80 second range. There's a bad stop there by Gilliland, the Kelly Moss, number 88. Yeah, they had some kind of issue there at 136, so a 96-second stop there. That's going to really hurt them big time with their strategy now.
Now here comes the erstwhile leaders in Pro-Am now in the Ferrari. Mascaro closing in on Williams, but yeah, this sequence has not gone according to plan for Triarzi. They've dropped a couple of spots.
Brayton did a really nice job in qualifying, one of the few drivers who just got up on the wheel early in that session and took advantage of the red flag being displayed and losing a big chunk of track time there. So TR3, they're pretty buoyant about their opportunities here, based here in Florida in the Fort Lauderdale area. So this is their home racetrack. Have a ton of time here with various championships that they compete in. Spoke to Gregory Romanelli, the team boss there. He said, I'm loving life. We love having Daniel back on board with our team. We're going to make some moves here this year in the championship, he feels.
Yeah, they go way back. Had a lot of success running together with the Mercedes platform. Easy reunion for sure when they decided a change was what they wanted to do with that program alongside Brayton Williams after the first round of the season at Sonoma. No change at the front here. Amanda saying a few of the pro teams, including McCann, and as we've noted, Dollarhide, look like they're ready and could call their cars in at any moment. Look at this Hornet's Nest down to turn 17. DeBoer in the BMW. Does he leave enough space to the inside for Martinez to go through? If he did, it wasn't by much, but Martinez does put the foot down and will get side by side.
Yeah, that was really close there.
On the track, this is for 14th and 15th overall. How about that move? Martinez carving to the inside in one.
Washington's wide. Washington's really wide. Really forced it down the inside there and just lost the front end on the race car on relatively new tires.
Second place, Sedgwick in the pit lane now. Cameron Lawrence, we believe, will be getting in that car here. They elect to short pit effectively. Here comes Cameron scampering over to help his co-driver out of the car and then get himself situated.
So he's going used, so they're going used, so they'll have new to finish. Changing drivers so you can put the qualifying tires on.
Right, good point.
So if there's any kind of yellow, if they stay in the game, they're going to have a fresh set of tires for their third and fourth stops. Second stints for both drivers. This could be a fairy tale for this team if they can pull off a result here based on how this weekend has gone so far.
Well, this is where this team needs to execute. By their own admission, still relatively new to this level of racing. Had a couple of pit stops that were well over the minimum back at Sonoma. Didn't really have a chance to fight it, Coda. They had a mechanical failure early in that race, so didn't really see that. But they've invested in a new, young crew that they're hoping to build around for many, many years to come. And this has been a real test of that crew's acumen, really, from the start of the weekend with all the misfortune they've been fighting through.
Not a great stop, unfortunately. 86 seconds, about 7, almost 8 seconds outside the minimum. That's going to hurt them track position-wise.
Yeah. When everyone else is executing maybe a second or two beyond, at most, that minimum. You could tell that the McCann car certainly was much closer than they were before the pit stops.
Does this create the domino effect? Do JMF react to the fact that one of the pro class leaders has made a pit stop early? They do.
Leader is in, Mackay Stevens. Now, what will they do? Do they keep Mackay in? Do they make the switch the way we saw the Dollarhide team do? We also saw McCann switch drivers. Zachary Vanier's now in that car.
Well, if I think about how Grenier looked at the end of Coda, I'd be doing singles. I really would, because it's going to keep the drivers at their freshest. They got great pace, so I'd be doing double driver changes. We'll have to wait and see.
Car arrives in the box.
Do not see a driver leaping over the wall, so they are going to go double with Mikel Grenier to finish this off. It's going to be a tall order for those drivers if they're really on it.
Need to reiterate the conditions here. When the race started, it was 95 degrees in the air. Temperatures, or rather humidity, right around 50%, so it feels well into the triple digits. It's been a challenging weekend all along, and it should cool off somewhat as we get deeper into the evening. However, even at checkered flag, we're still expecting temperatures up in the upper 80s.
Yeah, and the reason I'd be going driver change, I mean, you got 40 seconds, 39 seconds to transition pit lane. You got 79 seconds up. That gives you 40 seconds to do a driver change. It shouldn't be any threat of anything going wrong. You got plenty of time there. And I just think having a fresh driver on a single stint to finish here in this heat that we're seeing here at Sebring would have been the way to go. But obviously they've thought about it, they've discussed it ad nauseum. You'd have to feel all of the drivers and teams are being on top of this with the conditions we've faced all week long.
We will file it away for the future, but yeah, to give you an idea of how much that pit stop has cost the Dollahide team. They were basically nose to tail before this pit stop sequence, and now this is where the Dollahide Mustang is. This, several corners up the road, is where the de facto race leaders are with JMF.
Yeah, so 4 of the 5 pro cars have been into pit lane. The one who stayed out there right now is Turner Motorsports with Justin Rothberg aboard, the number 29. He now leads this motor race.
Now Sedgwick is out, Lawrence now in this Mustang, and it's time to put his head down and see what kind of pace he can extract from the car. Has a bit of a hole to dig out. Here comes the Turner car from the lead of the race.
Yeah, final pro car coming in. So we're seeing the majority of the cars on pit lane now. There's only 2 or 3 cars that have still to take this early pit stop option.
Amanda reporting they do not expect a driver change here. It should be Rothberg doubling up to start, Foley doubling up to finish. This is an experienced crew. Sticker tires going on. So much experience up on the box, calling strategy in these endurance races, and pit work so many times has helped to promote the Turner team to big results.
Let's see if the stickers going on or scrubs.
They were stickers.
They were stickers going on. Okay, so they indeed also elected to start on their qualifying tires.
Now we've got to see if this car can at least jump up to second place. You can see on the tracker there, the 34, that is Stevens coming through Sunset Bend and onto the front straightaway now. That will be the lead effectively changing hands as the Mercedes comes through. But look at the background. Here comes the Mustang. We'll see what kind of overlap we get. If it's close, not particularly good enough to hang on to second.
Yeah, let's see where Perez Compact is. There he is. So Rothberg's got to get up on the wheel here. Perez is going to try and pounce here pretty quickly, you'd think.
He's in his rhythm. He's on warmer tires, cold sticker tires on the BMW for Rothberg, and he's got to get moving and quickly here if he's going to hang on to this spot.
Yeah, real key is going to be down into that brake zone. You definitely feel he's going to go defensive here. Elect to use that right-hand lane down at the brake zone for the hairpin. Otherwise, he's just going to lose that position. Got to close him off here. Did a nice job there. Gets a few more corners under his belt, and then those Pirellis are going to really start to develop the grip he's looking for. So this could really work out well if he can resist the challenge here over the next couple of brake zones.
This is a crucial half a lap here for Rothberg to maintain this track position if he can, while he's at a tire temperature deficit, at least, to the chasing Ferrari. Matthias Perez Compact, still a young driver, not a ton of GT3 experience, knows this track, having done the 12-hour 1 year ago, but that was in a prototype. It's a different experience in this GT3 Ferrari.
Done a good job so far. And he's just going to get more and more grip now. He's going to start to feel the race car a little bit better. Car's going to feel the same. Just when you're a little bit low on tire pressure, that's almost affecting like the spring rate of the race car. It's going to feel a little bit more bouncy initially, and now it's going to start to really firm up and give him the grip and the dynamic he's looking for. This is a key corner, getting through 14, 15, and 16 cleanly and on that long Ullman straightaway.
Looked like Matthias did pretty well. Immediately, Rothberg feels that pressure, covers off the line of attack as best as he can. Compromised entry into Sunset Bend. Matthias lays back. Might be able to get a run out of 17 if he times this right. Here he comes through the bumps, and actually Rothberg did really well to keep his momentum up. Not an opportunity there for the Ferrari driver, and now tire temps should have more or less equalized.
And this is so important for Robbie Foley, his teammate. If he can gain a few seconds over that Ferrari, that really gives Robbie Foley and the group there a chance to at least replicate what they did at Dakota, where they had a really strong P2 finish. You know Schandorf's going to be super impressive behind the wheel of that Ferrari.
On board, this is Zach Vanier. Driver change in this car as it was in the Mustang. McCann started it, Vanier in it now. He just ran a 2:04.6. One of the faster laps of anyone in the field the last time by. Meanwhile, 3 cars still owe pit stops. The overall leader right now is Michael Clark. That car has not pitted yet. 4th overall, Jay Schreibman in the Sam class entry. They too have yet to see the pit lane, and Frank Depew is the other that hasn't pitted yet for Rebel Rock Racing, currently shown in 9th.
Let's not forget about the options here. You can basically go for 65 minutes before you have to be on pit lane. That's the maximum stint length. 75 minutes is the minimum drive time. So 2 different things there. You're looking at different ends of the scale in terms of that equation. So there's lots of flexibility in how you want to slice this cake here with a 180-minute race.
Speaking of Depew, here he is in the Aston. He's got Brayton Williams tucked up right under that rear wing, and then the brightly colored gold and black Ferrari of Mascaro is there too. Amanda, by the way, reporting that Sebastian's outlap wasn't quite what they would have hoped, and that's part of the reason that the Triarci team lost some ground. Meanwhile, from the lead of the race, here comes Michael Clark. Maybe splitting this down the middle for him?
Yeah, I think that's not a bad way to go. Do 2 kind of equal stints here. I believe he's staying in, right? Don't see any driver change going on, so it looks like Michael's staying behind the wheel, and Colin will do that double. Just you can see the clouds in the sky. It's that bright sunlight that just beats down on you, as Amanda alluded to at the burner. When you got these sort of ambient temps and then you got the direct sunlight, but that little bit of cloud cover has given these teams and drivers some relief. They weren't at all problems here through turn 17.
Yep, Mascaro goes around, led the early stages of this race in the Pro-Am class, dropped a couple more spots, and is vulnerable now to an attack from Derek DeBoer, who comes to the inside, plenty of momentum with wind in his sails, makes his way to turn 1 with that position in hand. This is what happened, Cal.
Yeah, just came in there a little bit too much speed, pinned the nose there and just loses it on the bumps. And I really feel that we're going to see a few more mistakes here than we normally would. It's a difficult racetrack. It's hard to survive the bumps as the tires start to get used up a little bit, and also mental errors can creep into play as well if you're overheated.
Daskalos has gone through to the lead in Pro-Am, started on the outside of the front row in class. Coleman up into 2nd place. Brayton Williams is 3rd. Then it's Martinez, who's been a big mover in this race. DeBoer in the BMW you're looking at right here. Derek holds down 12th overall, and is 6th in class with Mascaro right behind him. Progress here for Random Vandals, it should be noted. Derek DeBoer started 8th, up 2 spots, as the rapid Swede Hampus Eriksson to finish the job for him. Hampus, a race winner here at Sebring last year, 2 times over in Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America, went on to win the championship that year, had a couple runner-up results this season about a couple months ago.
Yeah, let's not forget that Random Vandals swept both races here in the pro class last year with Connor DeFilippi and Kenton Cook. So it's a good omen, right, with Hampus having a success here and also the team.
Great little pack here running together, BMW, Ferrari, and a couple of Porsches. Kyle Washington trying to ease his way into this battle. Gotta wonder how Kyle's feeling right now. He's been in a race car in this heat just about all day long. Practice for either this series or GT America, qualifying for one or the other. One race already today for GT America, and straight into this race car right afterward.
Yeah, I think if anything can keep you focused is being in a battle, looking at a car immediately in front of you. If you end up in a bit of a vacuum where you're driving by yourself, I think that's when you're more likely to make mistakes and your mind can wander a little bit. But by having that Porsche right in front of him, along with the Ferrari, he's going to stay focused here and see if he can make some moves. That'll keep him motivated.
Came into this weekend 2nd in points, only 6 points behind Musial and Yardley. Neither of those pairings are having a particularly strong day today. This could open up an opportunity for someone to make up some ground. You look at 1st place Daskalos, they were in a big points hole. Same for Coleman, who's in 2nd place. Long way to go, but if this trend continues, this could get them back into the fight.
Absolutely. It's early in the season, but as we've said many times so far this year, there's only 7 opportunities to score, and that's what JMF are doing, going on a roll at the beginning of the year. 2 victories already in the column. If they get another one here today, they currently lead. That almost becomes insurmountable as long as that team continues to have reliability and good, consistent results.
7th, 8th, and 9th, that's how they run. DeBoer's been able to escape this trio. You can see him disappearing into the foreground. There he comes. Green and white BMW, then Mascaro, Musial, and Washington.
Yeah, all of those drivers fast laps within a few tenths of one another, so pretty evenly matched battle right now. Fast lap of the race so far is with the number 6 car of Dollar Height Racing, 2:02.72 compared to a 2:07.9. Just a few hundredths of a second between the two fast laps of the two leaders in pro and overall.
And the only difference is how long the pit stop took for the Mustang. Lost basically the gap that they face right now in the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's team sport. We talk about it so often. You have to execute at a high level in every facet to come out on top. This paddock has only become more professional over the last 4 or 5 years, with high-level teams in North American GT racing showing up with really well turned out programs.
Yeah, you should have plenty of time. I thought there was actually a slight delay before the 6 car left its pit box, so I thought, okay, they're in good shape. They're having to wait to make sure they're not underneath the time. Then I saw it come up, and I'm like, wow. They obviously had a little bobble somewhere in that pit stop routine that cost them those precious 6-7 seconds.
Little traffic here for Derek De Boer to deal with. This is technically not lap traffic. This is Frank DePue on the, I guess it's now the alternate strategy.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, that was the primary strategy, running long. It bit a bunch of people, and so the roles have reversed here. But anyway, point being, Frank DePue running long here on this stint.
I think they're hoping for a yellow by electing to adopt the other strategy, hoping for a yellow before they go a lap down, which was obviously concerned by pitting Frank early. Is that, you know, there's potential to go a lap down, so they've kept him out there, kept him in the game, and he's done a really nice, clean job. This is exactly what Robin Liddell needs, his teammate, to set the stage for the rest of the day. You know, Robin is going to gradually get his teeth into this GT3 machinery. It's been quite some time since he's competed at this level himself, let alone the team kind of only on their second race weekend together.
Yeah, they're feeling it out, that's for sure. But quality operation. Robin has led teams at a high level, spent some time GT World Challenge Europe with Barwell, kind of helping to run that team, which was a front runner with Lamborghinis for many years. I think also in British GT.
Yeah, Robin's just got a wealth of experience, but boy, you give him an opportunity. He's still a race winner in GT4 level many times over the last few years alongside Frank, typically.
Earlier this year at Daytona, kind of stole a win there and surprised themselves. And that, in part, caused them to delay their entrance into this championship. Wanted to see what happened in the second round of the IMSA GT4 season. That did not go well. That was here at Sebring, incidentally. But the quick turnaround from Sebring then to Sonoma right thereafter was too much for the team to overcome, so delayed the entrance into the championship to Coda. And they've been working through some things. It's a car they got secondhand that they've had to get the way that they want it prepped, but making progress each and every weekend.
Good battle here for P3 overall and in pro. Rothberg hanging on to that position right now. Perez Compact is kind of regrouped here, starting to put the pressure back on.
These two basically the same best lap times, just a thousandth of a second between them. Slight edge to Matthias at this early stage, but I mean slight, 1/1000th, that's it. Zach Vanier and Michael McCann Jr. have basically matched it. Oh, more problems for Mascaro. Pole sitter, E-Pro-Am.
Such a promising run has kind of come unraveled here with a couple little spins.
We're approaching 40 minutes into this race, and you start to wonder, does the heat start to take its toll here? Let's look and see if we can figure out what happened.
Turn 10 just carried too much speed in there, was trying to get the car back under control around apex, ran out of room, tried to pinch it, just loses the tail.
It's dropped him down the order to 18th. It's Todd Perry got there, sitting right behind. Todd in his rookie season in the championship. Lunges to the inside. Does Mascaro see him?
Oof.
No. Wow. I don't know how that was not an accident. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was really super close.
Now, credit where credit is due. Todd Perriott saw what was about to happen and made sure he got the heck out of there. And that saved the day for both of those cars. That's the risk when you make that lunge in that corner, right? Oh, and problems for Gilliland now.
It's turn 17, I believe.
Yes, it is. Into the tire bundle. John able to continue on. Pit entrance is right there if he wants it. Yes, he does take it. That rear wing looks slightly askew.
Yeah, he thought about it, but probably wisely elects to have the crew check it out. Let's try and see if we can have another look at this. Oh yeah, just really, really tricky corner. If you got the weight on the nose, you got to really feel the brake pressure into that entry to the corner. Otherwise, you're just going to pin the nose. Then the car's bouncing around as you're turning, just going to lose the rear.
And that Kelly Moss team, you could tell they were scrambling to get the crew ready to go, suited up
good
with the
to go.
appropriate equipment. They say go. They send John again.
Yeah.
Now they'll have to factor this time in the pit lane, will they not? It doesn't count toward the drive time. So
that's correct.
That is effectively additional time now that John will have to spend in that car.
Yeah, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't in terms of where that incident occurred there in turn 17. Pit entry is coming up. If you say, well, I'm going to feel it out, you then got 3 3/4 miles to traverse if there's some kind of issue. If you cut down the time, you're not aware of it. So probably the best and safer bet is to hit pit lane immediately, have the crew check it and send him.
Let's jump back to this fight here for the final step of the podium overall. It is Rothberg with the position. He has been slower, as you saw in that graphic, than Matthias Perez Companc each of the last 3 laps, but I mean, it's only fractional, basically nothing between the two. You wonder if there might be more true pace in the Ferrari if it weren't in dirty air, but that said, it's not like Rothberg is under immense threat here. He's always been able to build a gap big enough where the pressure isn't really there in the brake zones where it matters.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's done a really nice job. I think they're setting the table for what could be a really brilliant battle between Foley and Shandorf as Frank Depew finally hits pit lane. What, 42 minutes into this stint.
Will Frank stay aboard? Nope. It's going to be a driver change here. Robin Liddell, Scotsman. The car missed the marks there slightly. They're having to push it back.
Yeah,
part of the learning process.
Yeah, 2 relatively short stints for Frank here to deal with the heat, so get him out, let him have a bit of a refresh here. And they could even do a double stint with Robin and then put, you know, Frank back in for the finish. I mean, it's probably not the ideal scenario if there was yellow. You obviously want your faster driver in for the finish if there's a compression of the field, but I think they're just trying to learn, get through this race safely and effectively, and just keep building the notebook.
That's right. Talking to the team strategist last night, Sean Heckman. You might know him from the Great Dinner with Racers podcast. He's made a little career for himself calling strategy in recent years, but anyway, his point is, yeah, we're still here to learn. We just want to button up everything from the execution side, make the pit stops hit the minimums, make sure that the car is ready to go when each session begins, that kind of thing, so that as the drivers get more accustomed to the car and the team gets a better sense for dialing the car's setup in, then they have all the basics figured out, and once they unlock the speed, it all should come together.
Yeah, and Sean's one of the smartest brains up and down pit lane, just a master strategist, just one of those guys who just gets it. You know, he feels the pulse of a race, know when to make a move, and just makes the call. Not sure he's always sort of like poring over different matrix of you know, the variables, but he just has that gut feeling in terms of when to make a decision.
You need that. You can't just rely on what the trends tell you or what the data system is telling you. Sometimes you just have to have that feel for the race innately.
Yeah, you do, and that can really make the difference in terms of getting to victory lane on certain occasions. He's had a ton of success over the years. For many years was involved with the Magnus Racing team. They've obviously won some big races over that time.
Jay Schreibman went longer on his first stint than anybody else. Will he stay in? No, he will not. Looks like Oz Negri will take a turn here first to give Jay a bit of a break. A nice job by Jay braving it out in just dreadfully hot conditions here in Florida.
Yeah, I think just different objectives, right? Agendas in terms of making sure those drivers are fit enough to not be flailing at the wheel. And we'll wait and see whether Oz is going to do a double or whether they'll let Jay back in for a short stint here in the middle of the race, but Oz in for a really long one at the end.
By the way, those little wrinkles that Rebel Rock wanted to iron out, well, it popped up here. Drive-through penalty for a pit lane speed violation. So a tough day gets a little bit tougher.
Yeah, those are the things you got, those little mistakes, little miscues you got to button up and tidy up. That could have been, you would guess, as coming into the pit lane. For Frank versus Rob, normally that's all controlled electronically in terms of when you leave your pit box, unless it wasn't engaged, of course, but normally it's easy to overshoot on the way in.
Traffic now for Justin Rothberg, third placed car. Just up ahead is Gilliland, trying to get John's drive time done. This is a big moment. You get the sense for Rothberg, if he can get through here cleanly and not give Perez Compact an opportunity. And don't forget, don't sleep on Zach Vanier, that Canadian in the Porsche just behind. This is now a 3-car battle here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, McCann Racing done a really great job here of getting back in the mix. Didn't qualify well. I think McCann just didn't get a really good lap in before we had that red flag. This is awfully tight there. Wow, Rothberg did a great job if he didn't touch that car right at the apex of turn 7, but it's allowed the chasers to be even closer. They accelerate now through Fangio curve.
On board with Vanier, watching that battle out through the windscreen. Lunge to the inside. Rothberg is through. Shandorf will try. Perez Compact will try to do the same, but he got stuck out wide. Vanier, opportunistic. He's through.
That was lovely driving there, just as you said. Took the opportunity, and now they're side by side through 13, through Tower Corner.
Oh, little touch. Maybe 2 of them. How about a 3rd? Why not? Still completely door to door. Ferrari sweeping around the outside. He'll have the preferred line into this brake zone here. Boy, this is nip and tuck. Great stuff.
What action we're seeing on the onboard here. That was fantastic driving, almost argy-bargy. They kept it clean. This has allowed Rothberg a little reprieve as he was dealing with that traffic.
And traffic still looms for these two. This is great for Rothberg. He's clear of it. These two aren't. Plus, they're fighting amongst themselves.
.143 miles an hour as you go to the brake pedal. That blind corner, you suddenly see the exit appear, and there it is. He's on and off the road almost there. Vanier. Feel the aggressive nature of the bumps around here when you try to squeeze back on the power.
Look how quickly Rothberg is clearing off.
Moving around, just trying to protect that position while he tries to set up that traffic in front of him. Is that Gilliland?
Yeah,
it is, but he's doing a nice job. He's got decent pace.
He does.
He had that moment in turn 17, trip to pit lane, so it's basically dropped them down a lap. But even so, you can see that he's still got good pace there. They're not swarming him by any stretch of the imagination.
Big opposite lock moment there. Quick hands from the Canadian Vanier.
Love the rhythm through here. Up that curb on the left-hand side, set up a nice wide entry, get your hand straight back to power. Porsche loses just a couple of feet to the Ferrari. It should be pulling a draft. However, the Ferrari's getting a draft off the Porsche in front. Vanier to the inside, really close on Gilliland's tail at the same time. Wow, what a move.
You can see the blue Ferrari in the rearview mirror, so the Porsche is through. How about that? Great stuff. Vanier only in his 4th ever GT3 race. Oh, we saw it from on board. Let's take a look and see how far back did Zach Vanier come from.
I think Compact thought he was safe just to follow Gilliland, and he said, I'm going to send it. Wow. That was really well judged, and to get enough braking done so he didn't just pile into the back end of the Porsche now in front of him was superb driving. That was sweet.
Sure was. Vanier was the North American representative of Porsche at their junior shootout last October, so he's really well thought of, and he's trying to muscle his way by Gilliland now. We'll keep watching this, but first, while we do that, let's go and check in with Amanda.
Well, it was a big round of applause from the McCann Racing team as that happened almost right here on the front stretch. I got over here, and your eyes were so big, Michael. What was that like for you watching?
Yeah, he's making moves out there right now, so he's good. Car's good right now, so we'll see what happens.
Gilliland's gone for a spin. Sorry, Amanda. Gilliland, a spin there off the nose of the Ferrari. That's an interesting one for race control to judge, Calvin, because that was a lapped car that had good pace, it should be noted, but was fighting amongst cars that were not on the same lap. Ugh, let's see what happens here, but this could have major implications on the rest of this race.
Take a look here. I don't know. I think you might get a call on that one. We'll let the stewards decide. I think Compact's going to maybe get a call on that. Just kind of dive down the inside. Yes, you're a lap down, but you just can't turn a competitor.
Nope. Agreed. Tough outing for Gilliland. That car was in the tire barrier, remember?
That rear wing is not straight.
I don't think it has been since then. It's remarkable. He had the kind of pace to run with those guys.
He was really good in the brake zone. Super impressive. I mean, Vanier said, I'm going to send it in turn 7, and Gilliland broke exactly where he did and kept that position. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was good fun. Approaching the 1 hour mark, which would leave us with 2 hours to go. It's still Mackay Stevens. His lead over Cameron Lawrence in the Mustang has now grown somewhat. It's about 13.5 seconds, yes indeed. Then Rothberg, Vanier, and this car, Matias Perez Compact. And that incident now under review.
So just to put it in perspective, for the teams that have elected double stint here at the beginning, trying to knock out that 75-minute drive time, the earliest point in the race that will happen, because the time on pit lane didn't count, is with 1 hour, 43.5 minutes to go. So that accounts for the time on pit lane as well, which doesn't count towards that drive time. So that's as early as some of these drivers that are doing a double could get out of the race car and then leave it to their second driver to finish the rest of the race.
Back to the leader, Kai Stevens. He is doing a double here to start. Michael Grenier will finish off the race. Amazing the season that JMF is putting together here, Calvin. You know, we talk about the fact it's only their second year in GT3 racing. They've never done races of this length and with this complexity of strategy, but they've jumped to it quite quickly. Certainly with the Pro car. Here's the Pro-Am car, rather, from the same team. Jason Daskalos is leading. This is the first time that he and Lorcan Hannafin have been denied pole position for one of these races. Still lined up second. And right now, they find themselves in pretty firm control of their class.
Yeah, I've been wondering when they'll break through and get that Pro-Am victory. On paper, it's looked really strong. Jason's had a big smile on his face since he got this opportunity with JMF squad. He knows he's got a really fast young teammate and just loves the engineering force that JMF brings to the racetrack every single weekend.
.206 still on the clock, 2 hours, 6 minutes. Let's check that back down in the pits with Amanda.
Yeah, I've been talking to Jason and Lorcan throughout the weekend, and this Mercedes really struggled up until today. They were having some structural issues, is how it was described, but talking with Lorcan just said it was almost miserable to drive out here at Sebring. But as we talked to Danny Koch right before this race in GT America, it seemed like things came together right when they needed it. And so I imagine Jason Daskalos will take a less qualifying effort for the result here today.
If that's the trade he's got to make, yeah, he'll take it. Not taking pole position if it can finally be converted into a strong finish.
Yeah, I spoke to the drivers yesterday, and they just said they were shaking their heads here. We don't know what it is. You just get onto the bumps into the brake zones. It literally feels like the car is broken. So by the fact that Danny Coker alluded to a structural issue. I wonder if it was like a pickup point that had to be reinforced in the chassis with the suspension bolts to it. We're just moving around on the severity of the bumps here, but either way, they got it sorted in the nick of time, and they're having a really strong run leading class.
Let's give a call to Todd Coleman in Archangel Motorsports. This McLaren does not have the air conditioning that a lot of the competitors do. Todd doing this double stint here to start the race. I know that was something the team was a bit concerned about. Leaves a lot for Aaron Telitz to do in the back half of the race, but guaranteed that Aaron's up for it if that's what's required. By the way, you see on the screen, drive-through penalty, Matias Perez Compact. Race control saw it like you did, Cal.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, you can say it's a lap car, they should let us by. And I mean, you want a little bit of give and take. You'd think on another day, maybe when the 88 is having a better day, that you'd make it a little bit easier for them. But Gilliland had great pace. I mean, despite having a car that's a little bit bent up, I mean, he was maintaining good braking performance, and he's going to feel, listen, I want to stay as much in the game. If suddenly some of those cars in front pit, you could be in a position to get back on the lead lap with the safety car, and just Compact just kind of put himself in no man's zone, as I feel, going into that corner there.
Yeah, wasn't fully alongside and committed, but also obviously wasn't out of it either.
This cost you 39 seconds transition time. I would say that really relates to about a 30-second delta in terms of true time loss out on the racetrack. But either way, painful blow, particularly when you think about Freddie Shandoff, who's thinking, I want to get out there and go fight that Turner car for position. It's going to make it awfully hard for him, and maybe a little bit easier for Robbie Foley, who's going to be finishing off in the number 29 squad.
Well, I guarantee if they catch a yellow and the field bunches up again in the second half, 2/3 of the race, when Shandorf gets in, look out. He is so quick and has been racing almost non-stop. This is his 5th straight week.
He's got 7 out of 8 or something he's got.
I think, well, maybe that's it. I think it's like 7 or 8 races in 5 weeks with all the different programs that he has. Some of them are double headers, things like that. And so what he told me about it, and he's told others the same thing, is he's never felt so sharp. He turns up at the racetrack, it's all Ferraris, and he's not a Ferrari contracted driver, so he's jumped around to different teams and things like that, different manufacturers over the years, but because it's all with Ferrari this year, he shows up, he feels like he's right on the pace straight away, and he also feels like he's been able to bring things he's learned in GT World Challenge Europe, for instance, and bring it over here to the States, or from GT World Challenge America over to IMSA. It's really been a huge benefit for him so far this year. Mentioned earlier that Todd Coleman is doing this Ironman stint without the benefit of air conditioning. The man who's going to have to take it home is standing by with Amanda.
Just talking to Aaron Telitz, he said that they just want a nice, clean finish. This is one of the teams that's kind of had some issues the first 2 races as well. Really need a good points day. We've been talking about how Todd Coleman's out there doing an Ironman of a double stint. Talk about the McLaren without air conditioning.
Yeah, Todd's just doing such a great job this whole weekend. He's been driving, best I've seen him drive for sure. And yeah, our car gets pretty hot. We do not have air conditioning in the car. We do have a helmet blower hooked up and a cool suit, so that's what kind of keeps us cold in there. But I think Todd started with a bag of ice in his lap to start the race as well. I'm sure he's drinking the whole drink bottle.
I just told you we don't like to come over here and jinx anything, but I remember back to the Indy 8 hour, we talked to you guys after. You weren't even aware that you guys were on podium. I know that's a goal here for this team. What would that moment be like for this pair?
Yeah, it'll just feel great. Obviously, we've had really good pace the first 2 rounds of the year, just maybe have had some things out of our control not go our way. So we're just looking for a nice, clean race. And yeah, we've got the pace to be on the podium here, and we'll just see what we can do.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Telitz was really quick. Aaron was really quick in qualifying here earlier in the afternoon. So if Todd can keep doing what he's doing, keeping it clean, really solid pace, running there in P2, that could set the table nicely for Aaron Telitz to go after another GT3 victory this year.
Battle on here for 10th overall. Mutual to the inside of Derek DeBoer. That was slick. Porsche around the BMW, and Derek's troubles aren't over just yet. Kyle Washington has arrived on the scene.
Yeah, he has. So Derek's done a really solid job, though. I mean, I think it's a really decent weekend for Random Vandals. Didn't look to have good pace initially here this weekend, but they worked on the race car, got it better, had a good solid qualifying run, and having a good solid stint here, keeping their nose clean. Really setting the table for Hampus Eriksson to try and do what he can do here, and looking for their first podium of the year.
I think Dave Musial Jr., or Dave 2.0 as he prefers, in this Wright Motorsports car at the front of this train. He opened some eyes at Circuit of the Americas with his pace. I know that you came away really impressed with his performance.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I mean, obviously he's got a lot of experience in Porsches and stuff, but yeah, just seeing these drivers race at this new level and see how they adapt and how they can kind of fit into the scenery. He just seems to be really comfortable, and they obviously had a huge result there. That will really boost their confidence moving forward as well.
An overall win, not just a class win, an overall win. Not a bad way to get your first win in GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. Derek DeBoer hanging on for all that he's worth in that Random Vandals BMW. Kyle Washington, got to wonder how he's feeling too right now. I know I bring it up every time, but it is amazing how much he's been in the car here today, but really all weekend long, given how hot it has been for really since we all arrived.
Yeah, he looked a little bit ragged there with the tail end of the car. Now he misses his punt marks here a little bit too, so I hate to put 2 and 2 together and come up with the wrong number, but I would have to say that maybe he's struggling a little bit with his focus this late in the going and is maybe getting a little overheated here with 2 mistakes in 2 corners.
But how much longer does he need to go?
He needs to get to an hour and 43 and a bit left in this race. He's got about another 16 minutes to hang on to get to that 75-minute drive time. And again, the time on pit lane did not count.
You know, we saw this probably in the GT America race where he caught up to Memo Gidley and Tony Davis. They were fighting for first and second, and he dropped back a little bit. Then he catch him up again. Sometimes you get the sense he just likes a rabbit to chase, and he certainly has one right now.
Yeah, I mean, when he hits his marks, he is really, really quick. Here he comes in here, just gets in a little bit too deep, doesn't panic, controls it nicely, actually just releases the brake so you can survive the bumps. The problem is if you come in too deep, then you're harder on the brake pedal. That compresses the suspension, then suddenly when you hit those bumps, there's really no kind of relief, no absorption through the suspension because you got the nose pinned, and then it gets really bumpy and moves around on you.
Amanda's been all over this story from the beginning of the weekend. Amanda, what can you tell us about Kyle and GMG?
Yeah, just talking to Tom Sargent, and as we all know, Kyle Washington is definitely feeling it out there, but they are counting down the laps. 8 laps to go. We know that Kyle Washington has quite a day. He would love to hand this over for Tom Sargent to do Tom Sargent things.
Oh, and those are always spectacular things. Stick around, won't want to miss it if the previous 2 races are any indication, where he had some blistering pace. Since we've been talking about strategy, here's a look at the way the races work this year in GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. 3-hour race, maximum individual stint is 65 minutes. The minimum drive time each driver must accomplish is 75 minutes. And if you come to the pit lane and take fuel, it must be a 79-second trip down the pits, including the service. And it is a requirement that you take 3 fuel stops. That was a change from Sonoma to Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, because otherwise you could do it on 2 stops of fuel, so they're trying to take away any advantage that a brand may have by going a little bit longer on fuel and getting to victory lane, because there's still some ways that a race could slice and dice a little bit with yellows, where if a manufacturer does have a bit better fuel mileage, it could play a part in a win or a result. But either way, I think this equalizes the field a little bit more and kind of equalizes the strategy and the template from Europe as well.
Past the 1 hour mark. And I'm sure that it's not just GMG that's counting down the time at this stage. Everyone with a wary eye on the clock. How soon, especially in this Pro-Am class, can you get this drive time done? Turn the car over to the pros. Kyle now reeling Derek back in again.
Yeah, and if you do elect to come in as soon as you can, which you want to do just to give the drivers a relief and also get your faster driver on board, that faster driver is going to be looking at about 100 minutes drive time, so 65 minutes maximum stint, so you cut it up a different way. You could maybe do a short stint on your quali tires, then have a fresh set of rubber to finish off and try and back time the race, be the first to make the last pit stop, things like that. So I like the template here. I'm now kind of getting more into it and realizing there's a little bit of flexibility in how you go about your business here. and how you elect to take those 3 mandatory fuel stops today.
Oh, and we know Calvin loves to dig into that strategy, so if there's some meat on the bone there, then he'll be a happy guy. Therese Lalou about to lose the lead lap here, but she's done well after early misfortune at that spin, then had some trouble working through traffic at one point, but got into a nice rhythm, I'm told just a few laps ago, set her best lap of the race, and her best lap at 2:04.9 compares pretty well with a good chunk of her contemporaries in the Pro-Am class.
She's doing an amazing job. For her level of experience, having driven nothing like this GT3 car before, she's really dug deep. As Amanda said, she's just full of energy. I just love her personality and so impressed with what she's been able to do. She's got a great teammate in Thomas Merrill. He's got a ton of experience and just kind of mentoring her. Got a great group to work with Right Motorsports. So all of the tools are in place, and I think she's having obviously a great start to the year, and I think it's going to continue as she gets more and more miles under her belt.
As you can see, it's not like Mackay Stevens is reeling her in hand over fist at this stage. Doing a good job to keep that pace up, and like you said, we'll turn it over to Thomas Merrill. When Amanda was talking about that run for Todd Coleman and Aaron Tiewitz to third of the North American entries, or a podium of the North American entries at least, at the Indy 8 Hour for Archangel last year, their third driver was Thomas Merrill. So he definitely is the real deal. We saw that, didn't we, at COTA when they got the track position with the strategy, but he kept it there. Oh, here comes Washington now.
He's looking feisty here. That's not the place to poke your nose in, Carl. You know that. Thinks better of it. But I think this is good for him as he tries to finish off the last 10 minutes or so of this stint just to keep him focused. Have kind of a target in front of him.
For Derek, this is a bit of a homecoming, coming back to SRO America. Cut his teeth here, came up through the ranks, GT4 to GT3, then spent the last few years racing overseas, ELMS, WEC, things like that. But saw this chance to come back home. Loved the new format, the 3-hour endurance style race here, as opposed to 2 90-minute sprints, which we had previously. Hooked up with a great team like Random Vandals. Paul Sparta, who runs the team, has built this operation into a bit of a behemoth, it has to be said, over the last few years. GT4 and GT3 titles last year. And a great young teammate in Hampus Eriksson as well.
Yeah, and Paul will say that, you know, he's known Derek for a long time, and he just said he's at a different level. His level of maturity and racing knowledge has just been really accelerated since that time that he spent over in Europe competing both in the LMS and in the World Endurance Championship. So he's a more complete driver. He gets it, more consistent, and this is just going to pay dividends for that whole group as they move this program forward. Oh, as I say that about consistency, makes a little mistake there off of turn 5. Washington gets the run, big head of steam.
Car had a couple little twitches building up to that bigger one. He's not done though yet. Derek kept his foot in it. He's to the inside, but has to give way. Washington makes up the position.
Yeah, good respect there between the two. Carl gave him a little bit of room, but recognized Derek did that it was probably not going to work if he hung in there. Going to be a brush and probably turn the Porsche. Gives it up. So he'll know he made that little error. Otherwise, he could have maybe tried to hang on to that track position all the way to his round of pit stops.
It's been slow but steady progress here for Kyle Washington. Frankly, I thought he might go on the attack right away, but a more measured approach. Up another spot here. And we know what kind of talent is waiting in the wings with the current North American leader in SRO's GT Academy program that's expanded here in 2026. 4 silver-graded drivers aged 30 or younger by the end of the year will be nominated. One from GT World Challenge America, one from GT World Challenge Asia, another from Australia, and then British GT, awarded a seat at next year's CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa, and they'll all get to run together. Really, really cool opportunity and a great reward for some of these up-and-coming drivers that are trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, very much so, and Tom Sargent has just been incredible this year. I mean, we all knew his talent coming up over the last couple of years, but performances he's put in have just been simply remarkable, and he's kind of swept both weekends so far in that GT Academy standing. So everyone wants to go to Spa with a big group and have an opportunity to race at one of those blue ribbon events, and I don't think it's at his forefront, but certainly in the backdrop, recognize if he puts in solid performances, he could be the man who gets selected.
Slade Stewart in the BMW has some company now in the form of Todd Perriott. Two cars with the most pink on them have managed to find one another.
So if they trade paint, no one will notice, right?
I think that's the idea. Exactly so. Come to think of it, there was that review early in the race for an incident that Slade was involved in. I never saw anything about it, but I must assume then that no action was taken. And here we go. Pit stops out of the Pro Class. Cam Lawrence is in. Zach Vanier will follow him through.
Yeah, and obviously different ways of slicing up their drive times. There's going to be another driver change here, so Century will go on. Assume they're at least scuffed or sticker tires going on. There you see it. Looks like they've just maybe done a lap just to take the mold release off the tires, so they're in prime condition. Let's see if they can tidy up this pit stop a little bit and be underneath the minimum time, or close to it. You don't want to be underneath, but at least be close to it so they don't sacrifice any time on pit lane.
Yep, that's the next big step for this team. Pace is there. Amazing work. We should reiterate, in case you're just joining us, this car was in pieces. Not, what, 24 hours ago, right? Brake failure led to a heavy impact. Spent a long night repairing the car, getting it ready to go for this event. And actually had an amazing qualifying result, given the fact neither driver had hardly any laps at all coming into that session earlier today. Here comes the Mustang. Vanier does appear a little closer.
Yeah, curious to see if McCann Jr. got back on board. We will not see that till they trigger the time limiter. I'd have to think they would have done another driver change there as well, adopting a similar strategy to the 6. Yes, McCann now behind the wheel.
Those two are committed to making that driver change at every stop, it looks like.
I like that on a day like today. I think it's a good way to go. Again, we're going to see some drivers really struggling at the end of this race. Temperatures are still really extreme out there.
Back to this fight. Oh, Slade Stewart with a big snap there. Did well to corral it. Here comes Mackay Stevens, the race leader, catching this fighting pair just ahead. Stewart leaves the inside line open, late lunge for Perriott, and he is through. Great move.
Yeah, nice and tidy. Just dove for the inside, kept it all under control. Really pretty move there. We're about 5 minutes away from getting to that 75-minute minimum drive time for these starting drivers who have done a double to start this race. So it's going to be busy on pit lane, I think, here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Temperature's still at 89 degrees ambient. Not much relief here, but it is a little bit better than was forecast coming in 2 days ago. Looked like it's going to be 3-4 degrees more than this.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of feared the worst when we saw that forecast, knowing how strenuous even the Coda event was. And you talked about it earlier. We got lucky there with some overcast conditions. It kept temperatures down somewhat. This looked like it was going to be another order of magnitude more challenging. Could have been worse, I suppose, but don't tell that to the guys behind the wheel right now. I don't think they want to hear anything about that.
Yes, we're drinking our iced latte in the booth.
Perriott by Stewart. Stewart, though, still keeping a pretty decent pace. Stevens closing in.
It's been a really solid day for Slade. I think they'll be happy with this performance.
Yeah, I think so, too. Andy Lee will take that car over. Just need another solid day. Another driver in Slade who is new to GT3 racing, coming out of Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And it's just another step up, right? At every level, every part about it. You have to raise your game along with the new level of opposition.
Yeah, a little bit wide there in turn one. Tried to get back into his rhythm there, but eventually Stevens goes through. So again, JMF doing a really solid job here, but we're getting to the point they got a 28-second lead over the Turner Motorsports car, but I would have to think Rothberger's going to be in within the next 2 laps here and turn it over to Robbie Foley. And then for Turner Motorsports, what they'd love to have happen, well, it's a double-edged sword actually when I got about to make this statement. Love to have a yellow to put them closer to the 34, but it would also bring the 12 car closer to them, who had to have that drive-through penalty for Compact's incident responsibility down in this corner.
That's a crew that, without question, wants a yellow to bunch them back up. They've shuffled themselves up into third in class, 6th overall, because of the pit stops for Dollarhide Racing and McCann Racing. That will all cycle back through once the front 3 in the pro class make their stops. Here's Stevens working his way through and around Perriott. The lead has come down a little bit as Mackay's worked the traffic, but the nice thing about having a pretty hefty edge is you can take your time, make sure it's a high percentage move, and if you lose a second here or there, you know, you've got those in hand.
Yeah, Mackay's 51 minutes into this stint, so he's got a little bit of flexibility when he hits pit lane, and obviously, as we've said many times before, there's such an equal driver pairing that creates a lot of freedom in terms of how soon you have to make decisions.
This is turn 17. One of the more challenging corners anywhere in North American racing. And this is Race Vision powered by AWS. The highest minimum speed, I guess, is the way that you would describe this through turn 17 in Rothberg, 119 miles per hour. Derek DeBoer right there with him. So BMW good over those bumps, and boy, we've said that a lot over the years.
Yeah, that certainly rides the bumps well. Got a long wheelbase on the car as well as we watch Rothberg's version carve through that corner. I think they can come on the next lap. I think one more lap for Rothberg, and I got a feeling Turner will make that call.
Yeah, Amanda just said that Robbie Foley put his helmet on a few minutes ago, so clearly the Turner team sees that window of opportunity cracking open, and they're ready to jump through it at the earliest chance that presents itself. What do you make of this opening stint here from Rothberg? Big step for him into the pro class.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a big step, and he doesn't do any testing in the off season, so he came into Sonoma kind of raw again, and it's really hard to get up to speed in the pro class because there are no wig combinations there. So super challenging, but he's always been up to that task. He's had so much success over the last couple of years with he and Robbie Foley winning 2 Pro-Am championships. He also won the GT America Championship last year, so he's used to winning. So I think it takes a little bit of a different mindset. You're not going out every weekend as maybe one of the favorites. They need everything to align perfectly for them to have a chance of victory in pro.
Well, this didn't exactly align for them because the window wasn't quite open in time for them to come this lap. However, it has for RS1. Martinez is in. Musial is in for Wright Motorsports. Amanda projecting it's about to get busy. Down in the pit lane, Jan Halen. You can recognize that helmet anywhere. Climbs in. JP Martinez, job well done, sir. Now it's up to the veteran, Jan Halen, to bring it home.
And as you can see with the time on the board, many ways of slicing this too. Do you put your used tires on, go for light fuel load? I mean, these cars are super weight sensitive, so if you don't need a full fuel load to get to the end of doing your last stop, don't fill it up. You know, leave a little bit of room in the tank and just kind of match that to how long you need to go to get to the point in the race. As we said earlier, basically 66 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Around that point is where you can make that final stop to get to the finish and not be outside the minimum drive time.
Stevens pits from the lead of the race. Well, I think just about everybody will be coming here shortly. Look how busy that pit lane is. And here is Stevens climbing out after controlling this race. JMF trying to keep it a perfect start to the season. Undefeated through 2 races. Control of this one, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, so they didn't pit initially when the first stoppers came, kind of waited a little bit, but now they're kind of matching what everyone else is doing.
Rothberg has followed him in. Daskalos and Coleman. Williams as well, top 3 in Pro-Am, also all in the pit lane right now.
So this will be really key. Just want to go back actually and look at the 6 pit time. So if I can get a look at that, I'm not sure. I didn't look at that with like
No, I'm only seeing collective pit time, so
we do that.
we'll let Cal do the numbers for us. Meanwhile, JMF out of the pits in the Mercedes. They should easily retain the advantage. Turner's stop is done. Rothberg's stay behind the wheel done as well. Robbie Foley now in that car.
I don't think it was another great one. I think they had about an 86-second stop first go-around. I think this one was, doing the math, probably about 83. So again, left a little bit on the table there with the Dollar Height Racing team.
That said, the raw pace of the car is enough for them to at least come out ahead of the McCann car, and they're starting to pull away a little bit. Sedgwick just did his the overall best first sector a few moments ago, and they're ahead of Robbie Foley in the BMW as well, it would appear. Interesting. Is there a problem on that stop?
No, they're 238, so you double that as 119 was exactly where you need to be. So they are right on the number for both stops there for Turner Motorsports.
Well, McLaren, excuse me, the McCann car is out also ahead of Foley here. It's an interesting development to say the least. Also potentially a change on the pit lane in the Pro-Am class. Sounds like the Archangel team did a great job, and that might have been enough to get Aaron Telitz up at least one spot, or maybe, sorry, I got a message that it was McLaren ahead of Mercedes, not sure which Mercedes, and it is the one that matters. Telitz is up to the lead in the Pro-Am class ahead of Hannafin. Now Turner, somewhat on the back foot here. This is the new Pro-Am leader with the Wisconsin native Aaron Telitz now. Great job by Coleman, and from what we can tell, good work in the pits from the Archangel crew.
Yeah, let's look at that stop there for Telitz. Wasn't mega.
Okay.
Don't really understand why they got a big advantage. I got it down
Well,
at 84.4.
Look at the number underneath. Look at the JMF stop for Hannafin.
That's why.
Daskalos.
That's why
That
there's
was
the best.
way over.
Yeah, 97. That's the reason. So it wasn't a great one for Archangel, but it was an awful one for JMF with their Pro-Am entry.
Yep. Now Hannafin's going to have to fight back then. We're back to where they started in second place. This is the leader. Just at the end of the, or the start of the Ullman Straight, rather, you could see Hannafin giving chase.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a tall order because Telitz have been absolutely flying here today. He was only, what, a tenth or two off of Foley, who had the fastest overall lap in qualifying here earlier this afternoon. So I think Telitz is feeling in this McLaren. This could be a big day for Archangel and Todd Coleman.
It would be massive, but they have to hang on not even halfway through this event. Temperatures have come down a little bit, 91 degrees, some cloud cover overhead as well. Humidity, though, still hovering right around 50%. So conditions, while easing up slightly, by no means is this a walk in the park.
Curious to get a read on some of these drivers who jumped out and see how they're feeling. Obviously, their co-drivers got to go a little bit further, but the conditions will gradually ease just a little bit, so the pain is not going to be quite so intense. But a lot of those drivers had a really big stint here, 75 minutes drive time before they got out.
Tom Sargent in the GMG car and immediately on the pace. He comes through and sets a 2:01.903. Oh my goodness. Here comes Tom again.
Just like he did at Coda. This is just sensational stuff.
Exploring the very edge of the track surface here at Sebring. Tom's been waiting around all day. His co-driver's been having all the fun in the car. Finally, it's Tom's chance to shine.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, the fastest time by the lead of the JMF Mercedes is a 2:02.7,
Yeah.
so he's 8/10ths quicker. He's over a second quicker initially at Coda. And I think what they're doing is they're short filling on this initial stint for Tom Sargent, and then we'll do a full fuel fill to get him to the finish. So they're really putting all of their eggs in the basket here in this stint to see how much ground he can make up, and he's certainly demonstrating the speed that he has.
Oh, it's Negri, or is it Schreibman? It is Schreibman back in the M class
Down
car
the
leaving
front
the pits.
straightaway there. That was a big battle going on. Almost a car in the concrete wall. Drivers left. That's Foley there trying to make a move here. on McCann Jr. McCann gave him the big squeeze down the front stretch. I'm not sure how late that move happened, but that looked pretty dicey.
Still not 100% clear what the McCann team did to get ahead, but whatever it was, they executed really well. Now it's up to Michael McCann to try and hang on. Here comes Foley now taking a look around the outside. McCann takes a glance in the rearview mirror to make sure that there's no car alongside, and he still has the spot.
Yeah, remember, they pitted quite some time earlier, about probably 3 or 4 laps earlier than Turner, so that's what got them the track position.
Okay.
With the undercut. Foley there is, he's got to be patient here, because otherwise he's going to get in the back of this Porsche. They're in great shape here for a really solid run, but he doesn't want to be delayed here by McCann.
No, he knows that Sedgwick could be catchable potentially, but that becomes more difficult. The longer he's stuck here behind the Porsche, it does seem like the BMW is the quicker car, but McCann's done well covering off any line of approach.
As we said just a few minutes ago, Foley did lay down the fastest qualifying lap of anyone across both sessions here mid-afternoon, so you'd have to feel that he's got good pace here as things are cooling off as well.
Hey Cal, we thought Sargent's last lap was good. How do you like a 2:01.3? It is over a second, close to a second and a half faster than just about anybody
Foley
else.
Finally makes the move there. Let's see what Foley can have up his sleeve. So understand there might be an incident or something going on out on the racetrack. We're trying to get clarification on this. Talk of maybe potentially a yellow coming, but Foley's cleared McCann. So if there is a yellow, is the car. We just see a rear wing.
I think that could be Tieglitz. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll take that back. Yeah. Oh, it is. It is the McLaren. From the lead of the race.
It's in a safe haven, I think. There's the orange block there, so I think he's got out of harm's way, so don't think we will see a yellow, but wow, that's from the lead in Pro-Am. Devastating blow for Todd Coleman and the whole group.
Star-crossed is the only way I can describe the season they've had. They have been fast at each and every stop, but once again, they will not score points. Second race in a row. They have 1 point on the season, Cal. That was a 10th place finish at Sonoma.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, let's shift our focus now to this battle. Jan Halen has 3rd in Pro-Am.
And the car behind him is not on the same lap. Remember, that car at the spin into the tire barrier in 17, spent some time in the pits with Gilliland driving, but it's a really fast driver in it right now in Luke Hartog.
Yeah, he had fastest time last evening in last practice session of the day in conditions similar to this, so see what he can do.
I saw your 2:01.3, Tom Sargent, and apparently he has raised it to a 2:01.2. Just going faster and faster. The Iron Man, though, who started the race in this car, Kyle Washington. Let's get a word from him with Amanda.
And still with a lot of energy down here is Kyle Washington. It just ran over to his team to see if potentially a yellow was coming out. Says he wants that for Tom Sargent, but the guy is throwing down fastest lap after fastest lap. Your day, how will you summarize this for yourself?
Lots of salty sweat. Lots of salt. The shower's gonna get it tonight.
Just talk to us about Tom Sargent. I mean, we're watching just a masterclass out there.
I mean, he's an amazing kid. I mean, you've spent time with him. Super fun to be around, great person, and just faster than all heck.
If he races at Spa, are you gonna go watch him?
I gotta figure out this race first. I'm one day at a time guy.
We'll ask you the question later in the year. Well done, Kyle.
Yeah, yes is the answer.
Yeah, just he looked pretty good. I expected him to be struggling a lot more. He hasn't been out of the car long, but boy, his co-driver's putting on a clinic right now in terms of fast laps. Just amazing. Just went purple in sector 2 as well. So let's see if he can move the number even lower. That would be incredible in race conditions to maybe knocking on the door of a 2-minute flat lap.
Don't tempt him with a good time. My goodness, this is spectacular. Here he comes. Let's check the lap time this time by 2:01.242 is his previous best. Doesn't improve this time.
What is wrong with the boy?
What was the number this time? Let's see. 2015.
Oh, he's losing his touch.
Still
but just
faster
amazing.
than anybody else.
Yeah, I just got a feel. I'd be really curious to know exactly what's going on there. I got a feeling they're just light fueling him for this short stint. You know you're going to get in as soon as you can to get to that mark in the race where you can do your 65-minute maximum stint time and get to the finish. So you're back timing the race from there. So that'll occur in about 14 minutes or so. Excuse me, 24 minutes or so. But yeah, so car is light, good tires, and he's got the hammer down.
Yeah, that serves a couple of purposes for them. Number one, it helps them strategically in this race because he's able to make up ground relative to the competition, and then, you know, that that could serve them well toward the end. But also the way that GT Academy works, where they look at fastest lap and fastest 10-lap segments and things like this. This is how he scores points toward that, and it really puts him in good stead.
Yeah. His competitors in that GT Academy are just saying, how can we compete with this kid? I mean, he's just laying it down.
This has become the fight for the lead in the Pro-Am class. Lorcan Hannafin under increasing pressure from Daniel Morad, but we have to wonder, Amanda, what happened to the Archangel McLaren?
Yeah, I tried to rush down here after the Kyle Washington interview. I did see Todd Coleman leave on his scooter, and talking to the team, a fuel leak issue takes them out of this race.
Wow. It had been a wonderful day up to this point as Morad goes off-roading momentarily. He's pushing for all he's worth. He can see the lead of the race, and something tells me he's a little bit motivated.
Yeah, he really is. Didn't face him at all. Just kept on with the program and is just really rolling big speed. These Mercedes are really hooked up through that tight, twisty stuff. Just really impressive, and I love the little drop in the wheels. Oh yeah, I needed the extra bit of room, and it just throws dust all over the road for the guys right behind you. Little trick of the trade there by Hannafin. Learn things quickly here at Sebring.
Lorcan enjoying this opportunity to come stateside for the next step in his career. Was looking around for opportunities at the end of last season, and his manager helped him make some connections over here. Seems like a really good pairing between himself and Jason Daskalos. They're kind of in that same boat with the Archangel car, where they've been strong in each of the races but have next to nothing in the points table to show for it. We just saw why you can't count your chickens, of course, but just past the halfway mark here, they're in a position to maybe finally bank some big points.
By the way, Sargent did find a new fast lap, 2:01.169. We're knocking on the door of that 2-minute flat barrier. Can he make it happen? Pretty cool stuff.
Just fantastic, and he has run down the reigning Carrera Cup champion, Ryan Yardley, and that will be a battle for 4th and 5th here before too much longer.
Yardley's got to be saying, where did he come from? Man, he just ran a lap 2.3 seconds quicker than Yardley's last lap, and we're talking about the kid who won the last race overall.
Yeah, Yardley's the real deal. He is excellent. Having come over stateside, had a couple good years in Carrera Cup, winning the title last year. It was a duel to the end of the year, came down to the final race, going up against Riley Dickinson, who's also in this field, running down in 9th right now in the Pro-Am class, 14th overall. Riley, a former Carrera Cup champion in his own right, so that's great talent there. And actually, Sargent probably, well, he would have raced against Dickinson at least in Carrera Cup, but he spent the last few years racing at the GT3 level with G&G. He has also done some IMSA with Wright, and was on the podium here, in fact, at the 12 Hours of Sebring just a couple months back.
Yeah, he's now got quite a bit of experience at this racetrack aboard a Porsche GT3 car, so that's going to serve him well, but it doesn't seem matter what the racetrack is. Forget racetrack experience. He's just got the bit between his teeth this year. Just brilliant performances. Swept the weekend at Long Beach in Carrera Cup.
Yeah, in a cameo appearance.
Yeah, won in ELMS.
Did?
Had a big month.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic 2026. Sometimes the stars align and you have a magical year like that, and I suppose you have to pinch yourself. Kind of like you were saying, Calvin, when you came here and won the 12-hour in your first start. You have to remind yourself, this isn't normal. This is a special achievement. Well, seasons like this are not normal, so enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible stuff. But this is going to be a battle that could go a long way. Look at the time. We're only just past the halfway mark in this race. We know that both these drivers are going to have to finish it off in terms of taking the car to the checkered flag. So that could be a really intense battle here for the next 86 minutes or so.
Okay, we know Sargent is quick. Can he make quick work of Yardley? Easier said than done, I say. And we'll see if Tom makes me a liar. Oh, little twitch there, Yardley vulnerable.
He thought about it, didn't he?
Did.
He's feeling it right now. Sargent just feels almost invincible, like he can put the car wherever he wants it to go.
Did you have any phases in your career where you felt like, looks like Tom's feeling right now?
I'm not sure I was ever this dominant in terms of lap time advantage over anyone else, but yeah, you can have a good day. Ooh, that was tight there. You hit that little bump, suddenly the front end just launches across the racetrack. Got to be really careful tucking it to the inside. But yeah, they found the sweet spot with this GMG machine, and whatever setup they got, they're really liking things. I think they've revamped their engineering group there a little bit at GMG, and they've got some really fast race cars this year.
Yardley has just enough pace to keep Sargent at bay, but this looks the closest thing to inevitable as you're going to find in racing. There is so much pace in hand in that 32 e-Boost car. A couple of brilliant liveries as well. Got a whole field of great looking cars, and the Porsches this year in particular have really raised the game with some spectacular paint schemes. Sargent again looking to the inside. Yardley will hold him off though.
He does, and you can see there, like on that last lap, I mean, Sargent caught him and then was behind Yardley for basically half a lap, and he was immediately a second off his previous time. So he's got speed, but sometimes when you got that car immediately in front of you, you just can't roll it through the middle of the corner. He's got to be, oh, he's lost the bumper. That is not great news there. Just that little tag. They locked horns, and it's loosened up the front end on that GMG Porsche. This is where the patience has got to come into play here. He's got to be so careful he doesn't turn Yardley and draw a penalty, but there's damage now at the front end.
It looked like it popped almost back into place with the wind pressure on it, but it's not secure. And we're a ways away yet from being in any kind of window where you could call that car to the pits and make a repair without basically adding an extra stop to your race. So you gotta hope it's nothing major and it stays put, because this is a fast race car as we've seen.
Yeah, it really is, and as you said, the air pressure at speed is kind of forcing that back into place. It'll be under the bumps into some of the brake zones where it may start to move around on him a little bit. Let's watch it here. My God, lucky Ryan, it seems to be almost back in place, and there you can see he's got more speed, but he can't do anything with it, and that just really showcases the dynamic of racing. When you're in clean air and by yourself, you can roll just that extra mile or two through the minimum speed of an apex, and right now he's not able to do that, and that's really affected his lap times big time. That last time was a 2:03.6 compared to that fast lap of a 2:01.1, 2.5 seconds off his best.
That's what you sacrifice in the midst of a battle like this one. Comparing the lap times though over the last 3 laps, clearly the edge to the GMG car and Tom Sargent. Couple of talented guys from down under who've taken their career stateside for the next big opportunity. Sargent, in some ways, blazing a trail for Ryan Yardley. I wonder how much Ryan took note of what Tom had done.
He's not wanting to let him go, is he? He's fighting it hard there. Just immediately runs that wider line there on the brake zone. This is where they've got to be careful, because Yardley's already taken that wider line there out of Fangio, and that puts him on the right-hand side.
The bumper came loose again. There you could see it. That little bit of contact had that effect. Just side to side, I think. Knocked it loose once more, and now we'll see if he can get lucky again and it pops back into place. It's almost too much to ask for, surely.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to go.
Yeah, it's loose.
Yeah, it's loose right now. Hopefully that's not a problem before he can get to the scheduled stop there and forces his way through finally.
It was forceful, but at what cost did he make up that position? Is that damage something he can carry the rest of the way? And if so, how much pace is that going to cost that car?
Well, there's been damage in terms of the lap times, right? He's probably lost about 6-8 seconds there, being stymied a bit behind Ryan there for 2 or 3 laps. But the question mark is, can that bumper hang on and not get dragged underneath the race car and cause a bigger issue? If he can get to the next round of pit stops, and that opens up here in about 15 minutes or so.
What about cooling on a day like today? Could that obstruct any of the air intake?
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure exactly, just looking at it, whether it will be stymieing any air. But look at this. Foley has caught Sedgwick. There's been a brilliant run by Robbie Foley here.
Yeah.
His best lap is some 0.8 quicker than Sedgwick. So Foley's in the 201 bracket as well. Admittedly not down in the lows that Sargent laid down, but 201.7. So the fastest man in qualifying is now showing it in race trim as well.
Yeah, good spot there, Cal. The car shuffled back during the pit stops, but got around McCann, just ran down Sedgwick. Now, is he close enough to take a lunge? Alex says, nope, not on my watch.
Foley here, similar predicament. Remember when he was behind McCann Jr., he was being frustrated, but he didn't touch the race car. He didn't damage the race car, he kept it clean. Now he's got a similar scenario here with Alex Sedgwick. Ooh, lost the front end there. Lost the front end big time.
Cost Robbie a lot of track position through turn 1. Drops a couple of car lengths off of Sedgwick in the second placed Mustang, but compare and contrast those lap times. You can see the edge is with the BMW right now.
Foley trying to regroup here.
This is change in position again. Possibly did Sargent have a moment here?
Well, that nose is really becoming a problem. I think it's kind of hurting the front splitter there, and he's losing downforce and just loses the front end there going through turn 1.
But it popped the bumper back
Pushed
in
it
place.
back into place, put it back on top of that splitter. And now he's got pace again.
Unbelievable.
This is wild.
Well, here he comes on the attack once again.
Does he trust it? Last time he understood straight off the racetrack. How much confidence is he going to have sending it around the outside? Clears him, clears Yardley before they even get to the brakes. Now he's got to feel this race car out. Gets better bite this time. So that split is just dropping down, just really destroyed the airflow of that really important lower element there. And that's what gave him the understeer going through turn 1 on the previous lap.
Now you look at that 12-click speed advantage, 242 to 230 kph. Comparing their trap speeds there. Some of that's the draft. I wonder if they've got slightly different aero configurations as well. Maybe a little more slippery in a straight line.
That's crazy that that bodywork has suddenly lead itself back up on top of the splitter.
Right. Message from race control. A warning's been given to Ryan Yardley in car 31. Contact at turn 10. I assume that was somewhere in this battle.
I think that was when they were braking, when Yardley was on the right-hand side. Maybe they felt that he's moving over and squeezing over to the left a little bit and causing that little bit of argy-bargy. And now we see that Foley has gotten around Sedgwick here. So this is important for Foley. He's got clean air on the front end of the nose of the BMW. Let's watch how this one develops. This is coming down into Tower Corner. Sedgwick just misses it a little bit. Foley pounces. Just that little bobble there on the downshift and the approach into Tower Corner. Foley is close enough to just slide by.
Doesn't take much. One little bobble, and the BMW is through on the Ford. Sedgwick, though, still giving this car a great run, considering it was in pieces. And future in this event very much in doubt with a testing incident after brake failure earlier in the week.
It'll be an emotional roller coaster for Cameron Lawrence. His wife Morgan just gave birth to their baby boy, and big emotions going on there, and he's about to go to the airport and people are calling him, did you have a big crash? And he's probably thinking, what the heck are you talking about? I'm not even at the racetrack. And I'm sure he called the team immediately and they said, yeah, your teammates had a big one. We're not sure we can fix it.
Didn't even know if he'd make the trip or not. Should I turn around? Should I just go back home and be with the family? But they got the car turned around. Great job by the Dollarhide team with some help from Ford and Multimatic. Let's go back to this battle here with Sargent and Yardley and some of the contact that we've seen from time to time. And I wonder, is this what the warning was issued for, or is this where the damage occurred? Nope, that's the damage.
Well, they had a couple kind of rough ups going into that brake zone. And so there was the contact. I mean, I think there was another version of that where he kind of moved a little bit more and put a big squeeze on him.
Right.
So he's already setting that up. He's coming through Fangio and just that left-hand sweeper, which is flat out, and just saying, I'm going to stay on the right-hand side of the road. Sargent has the head of steam. He was going to the left. And then Yardley was just kind of giving him the big squeeze.
So that was one candidate for the warning.
I'm not sure that was it. Let's see if we can find another one.
I think we might have. How about this?
Yeah, I think that was more that one. Yeah, a bit more movement there. Bodywork then comes loose again.
Only to get popped back in place on an off-track moment through turn 1 a few laps later. Very bizarre. I remember a GT America race, I think last year, maybe 2 years ago, there was maybe a GT4 Supra or something that its diffuser was loose and it went over a curb and it suddenly popped right back into place.
Yeah.
It looked like you were watching it in reverse or something, and that's the only thing I've ever seen that's similar to going off track and actually fixing your car like Tom just managed to
I do vaguely remember that, either an exhaust or a diffuser. I think is spot on. Yeah, suddenly it was back in
exhaust,
position.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, didn't quite know how to process what I was seeing. At least I had seen it once before now, and this time around.
Sebring can break cars and fix them.
Who knew?
It's amazing.
It's got to be a short list of cars that Sebring has fixed. You know, maybe the Dollarhide team, when their car was in pieces, should have considered that as a repair method.
That's right. Just let it roll around the racetrack and shake itself back into shape.
Well, I do think the GMG team will want to take a look at that when the pit stop window opens up and at least maybe put some 100-mile-an-hour tape on that thing and make sure it stays secure for the rest of the race. So this is what we were talking about. The bodywork was loose. We saw it just a moment ago. And this somehow is what put it back in place.
Yeah, just cutting across the gravel there, and the grass just suddenly popped that front fascia back on top of the splitter, so I think it fell down and was caught under the lip. That's when he lost all the downforce. So JMF have a massive lead right now, but I tell you what, if there was a yellow, they could be under threat here of losing a win, because the Turner Motorsports car has got about 4/10 more pace. Now, how much of that is being managed by Mikel Grenier? You'd have to assume he's on his quali tires right now, so we saw him vulnerable at Sonoma, remember, to the Ferrari, lost a lot of ground, and then they put fresh tires on at the end and he was able to stabilize that. So you got to feel that they're always going to think about, if there's a yellow, you want the car in the best possible shape with the best possible tires on for the run to the checkered flag. So you got to feel that both Turner Motorsports and JMF have got a fresh set of sticker tires waiting for their finishing driver to bring it home. But if there's a yellow, I think right now the Turner Motorsports BMW may have a little bit more pace.
Should mention, give a call to Jay Schreibman. Running unopposed this weekend in the AM class. Had some competition at COTA, which I know they enjoyed, but today, just getting through your stint, if you're Jay Schreibman and Oz Negri, that is a success. We cannot state enough how trying these conditions are. We've had various reports from different GT3 teams this weekend of cockpit temperatures in excess of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no other way to put it. That is brutal.
You know, I think what they did, they elected to do the double swap as well with the drivers. So Oz got in, relieved Jay, let him rest and recoup a little bit, got him back in for another relatively short stint. He's probably in for about another 15 minutes or so. I think he did about 40 on the first one. He's maybe on another 10 minutes or so to suffice his minimum drive time, but keeping it clean, doing a nice job.
That's the name of the game when you're only racing yourself and the racetrack, plus I suppose the conditions here this particular weekend.
And by the way, driving a Ferrari around Sebring has got to be pretty cool as well, right?
Yes.
Let's not forget the experience.
Yeah, Jay's loving this opportunity to do this. Came to racing later in life, then quite a few of the folks on the grid here. But loves it, loves being at the racetrack with his buddy Oz, and Oz is loving this too.
Yeah, I mean, for Oz Negri now in his early 60s to have this opportunity to continue racing at a high level with a really super professional team in AF Corsa just doesn't get any better. And at the same time, mentoring and giving a guy like Jay Shreedman a little bit later in life his first experiences at this level in the world of motorsports.
Let's check back in with the early front runners in Pro-Am. This car was on the class pole, remember, and Sebastian Mascaro had a couple spins in his opening stint. It's now Riccardo Agostini driving. They're down in 8th, but the car is quick. It's done at 2:02 flat, and this lap, Riccardo just did his best Sector 1, so this could be a car to keep an eye on as we get deeper into the race.
And again, there's a lot of fast cars out there, a little bit out of position. If we saw a yellow here in the final hour, it could really set up some dynamic battles here to the checkered flag.
That was another personal best from Agostini, I think, at 2:02.009 now. So basically 100th of a second from getting down into 2:01s, and that's pretty elite company. The only drivers that have done it so far, Riley Dickinson, Sargent, Hartog,
Foley.
Yep.
Shandoff.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, just a handful. But still Sargent. Just monster lap there. Well, a bunch of them, right? He had what? Probably 4 or 5 laps underneath the mid-1 range. No one else in the same zip code.
Let's look at this fight. This is 6th place. Hampus Eriksson has it. Colin Brown trying to take it away. Colin with Kelly Moss. Michael Clark started that car. Hampus Eriksson with Random Vandals. That was the Derek DeBoer car from the first section of the race. BMW versus Porsche once again.
Tell you what, it's been a really good bounce back here for Clark and Colin Brown. Qualified right at the back of the pack, obviously, with Clark had an issue. How did he get the penalty? He
it was a speeding penalty.
Speeding penalty on pit lane, I think, coming out of the pits, and had to stop and hold for 60 seconds. Then the red flag never really laid down a representative lap, so they qualified right at the back. They realized they were in trouble, and Colin elected not to really put any big laps on his quali set to save them for the race. So that may be coming back to help them here. He certainly had great pace here during this stint.
Yeah, definitely. For Michael Clark, last year it was a hiatus from racing, won a Sprint Challenge title the year before. Kind of thought maybe he was done. That might have been, you know, mission accomplished, and took a trip over to Le Mans just as a fan last year. Got that bug right away. And
that will do it.
Called up the Kelly Moss team and said, what do you think? Can we put a program together? Just happens to be they were already working on a couple of programs to come SRO Racing, so worked out nicely, and paired up with Colin, who's in the car now. And the connection there, I gather, is Kelly Moss and Riley. Basically, it's the same entity. There's a lot of shared resources there, and Colin for many years drove for Riley, so just kind of sliding over from one program to another.
Yeah, drove with George Kurtz, ton of success, won a load of races together, really great friends and great driving combination. And chatting to Bill over the offseason, Bill said, oh, we might have something together, you interested? You know, Colin, he loves to drive, so count me in, boss.
Yeah, Colin, just this year, he's raced a NASCAR truck, a GT3 Porsche, and the Acura prototype. It's pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to do that in a career, and he's done it in the last couple months.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think that he was part of Team 16 at the Rolex back in 2004, I think that was. So we're now, what, 22 years down the road?
That sounds about right.
It's crazy.
Well, let's see. He's my age, so that means he was 16, 21 years ago.
There you go. I think it was 04.
Yeah, we both have a birthday in September, just a couple days apart. I think I told this story before, but I remember watching that race with Team 16, and it really hit home. I was 16 years old watching all these other 16-year-olds. How are they out there?
I know. But just a super talented kid. Been brought up with racing vehicles of various descriptions. His father, Jeff, is just such a quality guy and just one of the smartest engineers on pit lane. Continues to do it. He always says he's kind of semi-retired, but he always seems to, people coax him back into a full-time position. Seems every single year, and they want the best people, and he's one of the best.
It's been proven time and time again. You know what? This is about to be a 3-horse race. Ericsson's gotten into a nice rhythm and built himself a bit of a cushion. But Ricky Agostini, there he comes. And we were checking in with him a moment ago, and he keeps putting in these low 202s. That'll have him here on the precipice before much longer.
Yeah, it was 1.2 seconds quicker than both Ericsson and Colin Brown on that last lap, so he's going to be there in a hurry.
Here he comes. Turn 7.
This won't take long, did it?
No. Now he can smell the blood in the water at this point. It's kind of a North American homecoming of sorts for Rick. He hasn't done a full-time program here in the States in quite a while. This isn't full-time, in fairness, only 3 scheduled weekends. I think we'll see them next at Road America. And as Amanda reported earlier, the plan is to come back, focus in on a full season challenge maybe next year. Dipping the toe in the water, getting some experience for Sebastian in particular. But former North American Lamborghini Super Trofeo champion, driving with Trent Hinman all the way back in 2017.
Yeah, that's a good combination.
It was.
Not surprised they were champions.
Not just of North America. They teamed up to win the World Final that year. I brought that up when I bumped into Ricky this weekend. He said, oh yeah, we flew the flag for America over there. And I said, yeah, I was there covering that event. And I felt pretty good about it, to be honest with you, so thanks.
Yeah, stacked the deck on that one. Hinman and Agostini together.
I think that was at Imola in 17.
Colin there really deep on the brakes, eats into that gap on the BMW. Again, Agostini, let's see if they cross the stripe this time, how much he takes out of that gap. Yeah, another 7/10 on Ericsson, 5/10 on Colin that lap, so Agostini continues to hunt them down. Oh, as they say that, he's in pit lane.
Yeah, how about that? It's curious, but anyway, okay. Are we? Yes, we are. Under 65 minutes to go, so we can do this here, right? And be good to go.
We're in the window. 66 minutes and 19 seconds was the time left on the board where you come in, do your 79-second stops and not exceed 65 minutes. Again, the clock stops in terms of drive time at the 3-hour mark, so even if you do another half lap beyond that or whatever, or another minute, it doesn't count. That allows you to back time the last stint, probably the easiest one of the race, actually. It gets a little bit more complex mid-race here to call the strategy.
Hampus Ericsson doing really well here, keeping the veteran Colin Brown behind him. Hampus' younger brother to Indy 500 winner Marcus Ericsson leaves the door open, and Brown, wow, that was decisive. Ericsson, though, fights back. He's to the outside of the Porsche.
This is going to be tricky for Colin here. He's going to try and squeeze him. He can't quite do it up and over the curb, and the BMW just clears him. So that was a beautiful move by Colin Brown. Now he goes to the flank again, side by side. Great respect there by Ericsson to make that work.
That was phenomenal. They were super close, but I don't think they ever touched. Colin Brown comes up on top of that one, but I think they'll both leave with a newfound respect for the other.
Top shelf stuff there by Colin Brown, particularly the move into 13, and then that one was a little bit braver even still, just putting it all on the line.
Well, that move was sudden and decisive from Colin.
Are these guys going to respond to cars hitting pit lane?
Sargent has. He's in the pit lane now. Here comes the
JMF.
leader. Yep. From the overall lead, Michael Grenier is in.
Big lead as well, so they're just playing it totally safe here, not wanting to get into that danger zone. Sargent now. Just wonder if he kind of adopted that. So it looks like a used set of tires going on, so I wonder if they're using his quali set again at the end. I'm not totally getting that in terms of the strategy. Yes, super impressive lap times, but if there's a yellow and you're in a fight, you'd obviously want to have the fresher tires on for the end of the race, but that's the strategy they employed at Circuit of the Americas as well. To remember, Amanda went down and checked.
Some frantic hand gestures there as they were looking at the damage, but they sent the car I hope everything is a-okay. I mean, the bodywork seems to have settled back in place more or less. They did put some tape on it, it looks like, to
hard
viewers
to tell
left
with
of the
that color
headlight.
scheme,
I
but
know.
yes.
Kind of blends in. Fuel going in for the leading car. This load of fuel will take them home. There goes Grenier with a spin of the wheels.
Have to feel that he's gone fresh tires at the end here. That's their normal strategy. Seen the 27 in, the 9 in, so that's the battle for Pro-Am on pit lane, I believe.
Now we talk about how hot it's been. It's true for these drivers. It's true for their crews who are in the fireproofs. Also for our cameramen down in the pit lane. Mauro, Joey, thanks for all your hard work in the heat. They're also in the fireproof Nomex, giving us these great shots at the pit stops.
This could be a huge day for JMF. First opportunity maybe to sweep both classes. To a two-car operation in GT3 for the first time, run 2 cars in GT4, probably GT4 for a few seasons, 2 cars in touring car, but first effort with 2 cars at this level.
Only their second season at the GT3 level, period.
Seeing that's the cleanest stop there for the tour. You got a little bit of time, a bit of a fudge factor as I call it in hand. We'll see as they come out whether they lost any time there.
And we'll know here pretty soon. They, of course, has turned around their pro car.
Top 3 there in Pro-Am coming out.
How's the time look?
Actually, it was
right on the money.
Number, yeah, 19.2, so that was really good.
Amanda, by the way, confirming it is the same GMG strategy once again. Qualifying tires on the car now after running the stickers on that short stint a moment ago.
If I'm reading this correctly, Ryan, I think TR3 may have had a bad stop there, an 85.7, and that's why Morad has tumbled down the order a little bit.
Yep, you're right. We've said it a few times. It doesn't take much, just a little hang up. 4 or 5 seconds in the pits, that could be massive. Foley pits now from the lead of the race.
Yeah, you can't play too many games here. 6 car.
Prior to the pit stops, Cal, Sargent was 9 seconds behind Jan Halen in the RS1 car. Looks like he's made up some of that.
Yeah, slightly better stop there. Neither one was great. There's an 81.2 for Sargent and an 82.4 for Jan Halen, so that's the reason for that gap closing.
Here comes Foley now out of the pit lane. He'll
Great
have some
stop.
traffic in front in Thomas Merrill.
Right on the number, 79.6. That's the way to execute by Turner.
It's what you'd expect from that team as well. Ericsson now peels in to the pit lane. It's stickers to the finish for the JMF race leaders.
Ericsson in.
Yep. I mentioned earlier, younger brother of Marcus Ericsson, former roommate of Marcus Ericsson, had been living in the basement until a couple of weeks ago.
Got promotion, got his own flat.
He did. But calls Indy home now.
Great to have Marcus at Circuit of the Americas. Enjoyed some time in the booth with him, and he's probably in action at Indy right now. The race has got to be going on, I would think.
Yes, I think so. No spoilers, please. We'll be catching up on that later. Ericsson rolling away. And the Vandals, their final pit stop of the day. Here comes Sargent through. There's the McCann car. That car's not pitted yet. Top 2, Sedgwick and McCann, have yet to make that final stop. Now, where will Hampus come out? Relative to some of the cars he was fighting with. Pretty good stop there from the Vandals team, 79 and change.
Yeah, so the 2 leaders can stay out there for about another 13 minutes to not exceed the driver's stint length of 65. They're 52 minutes into this stint, so they can roll the dice a little bit here And by doing that, if you were going to fresh tires at the end, they'd be a little bit fresher, of course, by waiting for that last stop. And then if you got a yellow, it would maybe give you a slight edge. So I would see that being the only reason that you want to sort of like be in that danger zone of a yellow coming out and losing a bundle of track time.
Augustini, I think, has done well in this with the pace that he's had. Pretty good quick pit stop as well from the Triarci team. See where it all shakes out. Got some more pit callers in. Come the Kelly Moss crew. This is Colin Brown. Saw Andy Lee just ahead as well in the BMW for Riley.
Those couple of moves that Colin made on that lap on Hampus, they were top shelf stuff, really demonstrating what he's all about and his abilities.
Yeah, high-level pro. We've seen that not just here in the States, but he's gone overseas and with George Kurtz won his class at Spa in the past, in addition to all the accolades here stateside. There's Riley Dickinson continuing to push. This car, I think, also still owes a stop. But saw that Todd Perriott started that car. He was in the wars early on. Seemed like he was having some fun with those battles. And now Riley Dickinson, really talented, really quick young driver that Porsche's had their eye on for a while, has cycled through to the lead in Pro-Am, but again, still needs to come in one more time.
Yeah, and he's been flying right down the lap at 201.66, and he's 46 minutes into this stint, so they've got a little bit of flexibility in terms of how long they keep him out there. But again, you're always running the risk of that yellow coming out, as we continue to say. But also, if you think, well, how can we really leap up the order? Get some fresh tires on as late as you possibly can and just hope for a yellow, and then you're going to have a slight edge in performance.
That's probably what they're gambling on, because they didn't really have great track position. So do something a little bit different. Hope things break your way. Worst case scenario, you're kind of back where you started anyway. So it's a worthwhile roll of the dice. This is interesting. Random Vandals ended up back out ahead of the Kelly Moss car. So Hampus gets that spot back, and Colin's going to have to do this all over again.
Let's try and dig into that a little bit with the data. Oh, yeah, it's a bad start for Colin Brown and Kelly Moss there, 87 seconds.
Minimum 79,
yeah.
So 8 over.
Yeah, and Hampus was at 79.9, so he's right on the number, or within a second, kind of the range you want to be in, certainly.
Well, you know, just a few years ago, when the Vandals made the step to GT3 for the first time, they kind of were on that side of things, and they've rounded into form and become a top-level GT3 program. Kelly Moss, they've been in GT3 before, but not really at this, certainly not with this many cars and this many programs, so you have to believe it's a lot of new people there servicing these cars, and they'll get better as the year goes on.
Sedgwick to pit lane, see if McCann Jr., McCann Racing, they should assume the lead, see if they stay out a little bit longer even still. So, like this strategy, I like the stint lengths and how they're keeping everything relatively fresh here. 53-minute stint to the finish here for Cam Lawrence, who's going to jump back on board here to finish off the race. They need a clean stop. They've not had two good ones. They need to really nail this to try and keep in contention. At the same time, McCann Racing are on pit lane. So this should cycle Grenier to the front and Foley in second, I believe.
McCann out, Vanier in. Zach was really good in his earlier stint, going on to the stickers there. Through to the lead comes the 34 with Mikael Grenier, winner overall at Bathurst earlier this year.
Yeah, dominant performance. Let's take a look at this one. Can they get it better on this last pit stop here for the number 6?
It bodes well. It was sitting for a little bit before they sent them. That's usually a good sign. Foley comes through to get the BMW back up ahead. We're about to see here, once he trips that beacon, what kind of time it was for the Dolomite team.
Right there, yeah, a little bit better. So 81.9, so they're closing in on it. They're getting closer.
Each stop was better.
Yep.
That's
respectable.
progress.
Yeah.
And think about the level of exhaustion too. It was a long night of repairs. There's been no time, no downtime to rest. It's been out in the heat. It's not like there's air-conditioned garages to go do all this work in that they've been doing. So, tip of the cap to the Dollarhide team. They have certainly put in the effort. Now, do they have the pace to be rewarded with a podium?
Yeah, it's a great point, Ryan. We talk about the drivers and the punishment that they're taking, but for the crews, particularly when you've basically pulled an all-nighter to get this car sorted, and then dealing with the heat all day long, and then on pit lane, extreme conditions. That's really a great effort by that whole group.
This is not what Riley Dickinson wants on this strategy. He wants clear track to put in fast laps, and he's caught a car on cold tires out of the pits. We'll see if maybe they decide enough's enough. Call him in now, get him out of this traffic.
Be a factor here, or whether he just feels he's got the momentum while Cam gets those tires up to temperature here, but that will not take long in this heat.
No. Temps have come down about 5 degrees, but it is still quite hot here, no question about it. Let's get more on the Dollarhide story. Amanda has caught up with Scott Dollarhide.
Yeah, standing beside him now, and I just asked him off camera, has anyone slept here? And he said absolutely not. When you look at what your team has been able to do, we know that you guys are in a building stage of this part for the Dollarhide Racing. How proud are you of these guys?
I'm super proud of everybody. It's been a really big family team effort, and yeah, everyone's rowing the boat in the same direction right now. So that's I think how it's able to all work together.
In a strange way, whatever the result may be today, do you feel like you've already won something?
I definitely want to, obviously do well in the race, but yes, I think that we've proved that we're not going to quit no matter what. So,
nice job.
Thank you so much.
I'll second that. Remarkable all around from the team. Dickinson does come in to get out of the traffic here. We'll see where that strategy ultimately nets them. I mean, Riley was out there in clear track for quite a while, doing quick laps while others were in the pits or fighting battles of their own. So this could net them a couple of spots.
Yeah, certainly a really impressive stint, and there's just so much talent in this field this year. These youngsters with great Porsche experience, and the one-make championships, getting these opportunities and delivering.
What happened to Hampus Eriksson? Because he was ahead of Colin Brown not so long ago, and now he's behind Colin and Thomas Merrill.
Big first sector, 51 seconds. He's got trouble. He's
Oh,
slowing.
no.
Yeah.
This is the Swede that we were just wondering about. Slow on the track.
Drive. Let's see if he can shift.
In third gear, you can see that.
See if he's just stuck in gear.
Now, we talked about it at the Open, didn't we?
Something's slipping. I think it might be a clutch issue.
Okay.
Seemed like when he really went to power, then you just heard it spin up.
Yeah, this track is a car breaker. It's had that reputation from the very beginning. It's why it's so revered. And might have bit another.
Just trying to get his way back to pit lane, see if the team can something internal in the gearbox. There's no way they're going to fix it unless it's something different. But you could you hear him when he accelerated? Just suddenly flared the revs.
Sure did. All right, well, from that downer to a more upbeat story, how about Jan Halen in RS1? I thought JP Martinez was particularly impressive in the opening hour. That's Jan's co-driver. Made a couple big moves, put this car in position, and now Jan Halen doing what he does best.
Yeah, but watch Sargent, who's one position back. He's 5 seconds back,
well,
I
there
believe.
he is.
Yeah, and last lap was almost half a second quicker. And when you look at the board, basically 47 minutes, you half at Framley laps. You got about 23 laps left in this race. So at that rate, he's going to be with Jan Halen here pretty quickly.
I grant you that he can catch Jan Halen, but we've seen over the years passing Jan Halen one of the more difficult things to do in this championship. So troubles for Random Vandals. Derek DeBoer will watch his car come to the pits, and Amanda will be with him.
Yeah, I start seeing the Random Vandals team packing up. Derek DeBoer came down from the top of the pit box. So what happened?
It sounds like we've got some issues with the clutch and we aren't able to continue. It's too bad. Hampus was driving a great race. start went pretty well. Car was feeling fast. I think we were in an honest-to-goodness battle, maybe in the top 5, which would have been good for points. But we're just clawing for some racing luck to come back. It's been a non-luck year so far, so maybe the second half will treat us better.
When you look at today's race, what will you take in your thoughts headed to Road Atlanta?
You know, I think me personally, I've got a lot of work to do learning how to get the most out of this tire and the right points in my stint. But all in all, you know, the Random Vandals prep and take care of a really awesome BMW, and we're just so fresh to the car. Everything's new for Hampus and I couldn't say enough about the team, and it's so great to be back here in SRO in America, and looking forward to Atlanta.
Thank you, Derek. Yeah, I think there's several teams out here, guys, that have a few words for the racing gods.
Yep, it's a growing list. One team, though, that really can't file too many complaints at this point is GMG. Fastest in all 3 sectors, and this is massive. Problems for the overall leader of the race, Michael Grenier, with smoke coming out of that Mercedes. He had a 21-second lead, so technically he still is the leader here. Foley hasn't caught him yet, but there is something very clearly wrong with the 34. Oh my goodness, it is only getting worse. Watch as that smoke continues to billow out of the car. What has been a near perfect season up to this point for Grenier and Stevens going up in smoke here at Sebring. Here comes Foley. He'll see the stricken leader. He'll know what that means. That is for a potential race win. Well, we've said it a number of times. This place has a reputation for breaking race cars. It put one back together. That was unexpected when Tom Sargent had his bodywork ripped off, and then it popped back in place up and over a curb about an hour or so ago. No such luck here for JMF. Heartbreaking for the championship leaders coming in, and this then throws the championship wide open. Justin Rothberg watching on as his car has come through to the lead of the race with this issue, and a full course yellow also comes out at the same time. Michael Grenier done on the side of the road.
Wow, this is massive. Just dominating this race, and suddenly some kind of technical issue aboard the Mercedes. And this is going to give Foley the lead, but it's also going to bring other players closer to him in terms of putting the pressure on for the victory. So coming off their first podium of the year at Circuit of the Americas, and now this is huge for the championship.
Massive. Massive for Turner to do a little thinking about what this could ultimately yield for them. But it also shakes up Pro-Am. I mean, it brings a bunch of cars back into the mix. That Dickinson strategy got them up to 7th. We know that car is fast. He'll be right on the heels of Agostini. Agostini's been fast. He'll be right there with Yardley. Tom Sargent suddenly is as close to the front of the Pro-Am field as he has been. Of course, this is the downside of their tire strategy. He's on the older tires, the qualifying tires, where it seemed like everybody else went on stickers.
This is going up big time.
Oh my goodness! Get the flame, the fire extinguishers out there. It looks like they have. Grenier's out of the car. That is heartbreaking for JMF.
Just putting the championship picture in perspective quickly, they came into this round on the back of sweeping both weekends, of course. The first sweeping up, but taking the first 2 victories. They had 20-point lead. Maximum point swing in Pro was 15 points, so they'll still have the championship lead tonight, but certainly severely cut into.
We'll go through those numbers in a moment, but first down to Amanda.
Yeah, sitting next to Mackay Stevens on top of the pit box. We just saw the shot of that Mercedes. What did you hear from the team was the issue first?
Thus far, it's undefined. So we're glad Nick's okay, first and foremost. As you can imagine, the team is very heartbroken over a valiant effort, but that's motorsport for you, so we keep digging.
When you saw that Mercedes on track with the smoke and the fire coming out, we do know that your co-driver is out of that race car. What is that experience like for you?
Fortunately, I've yet to experience it, so I'll certainly ask for Mick's mentorship in the experience. Hopefully it doesn't happen anytime soon, but again, most importantly, he's okay. the team is still as optimistic as always, and we'll keep digging.
That is no doubt. Guys, I did talk to Danny Koch just briefly before walking up here. It is a suspected oil leak in the Mercedes.
Well, something was definitely burning. That's without question, given the amount of smoke there, and that would make some sense. But that changes the total complexion of not just this race, but the whole championship in the pro class. Wave by underway right now. Basically, if you're trapped behind the overall leader but ahead of your class leader, you're given the chance to come back around. That way, a safety car doesn't artificially impact and split some of the other classes. So that's being taken care of while the safety crew is there dealing with the Mercedes on the side of the road.
Yeah, and just to put in perspective, with the shootout that's about to get unloaded here when we get back to green, looking at fast laps so far in this race, Foley, who leads the race, is at a 201.7 to his name. Cameron Lawrence at 201.9, Vanier 202.7, and Shandor for 201.6. So some couple of really quick cars there. I'm not sure if McCann Racing can find any speed in that Porsche to threaten, but certainly Cam Lawrence aboard the Dollar Height Racing Ford, and certainly the AF Corsa Ferrari have got enough pace to threaten Foley here for the win.
Yes, no doubt about it. It's not over yet by any stretch. Now, as for what this does to the Pro Class points, according to my handy-dandy spreadsheet, with a win, basically if the race were to end with the cars in these positions in Pro, Foley and Rothberg would now only be down 5 points leaving this weekend here at Sebring. It would be pretty tight then for third, fourth, and fifth. Grenier and Stevens would still be leading, but Sedgwick and Lawrence would be 17 points behind in third, 18 points behind in fourth would be Shandorf and Compact, and McCann and Vanier would be just 20 points behind in fifth, so only 3 points separating third, fourth, and fifth, and only 20 points separating the entire field. And of course, all that can change with the change in position here or there before the end of the race, but that's the situation we're in, and it's a completely different one than it had been with the JMF car dominating until just a few moments ago.
Yeah, as we said, only 7 chances to score, and the way it was going, if JMF could have gone 3 on the bounce, it would have been really difficult to unload them from the championship lead by Indianapolis. But this has certainly changed the complexion of the whole season, and from this point forward, as we get into the summer months, head to Road Atlanta next month, and then a little bit of a break for Spa, then back to Road America. So lots to play for. It's really opened up the game in the pro class, certainly.
And the beneficiary, without a doubt, has been the Turner team, Amanda.
As we get Justin Rothberg, and as we were just talking, 4 pro cars right up there at the front, but we're going to have this restart with your guy at the front. Why might you have the best horse in this race?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we genuinely do, but I have full faith in Robbie. He seems to get it done. He stays very poised. He knows what he's doing out there. He knows this car. He knows the team. So I have full faith that he can keep it out front there. I mean, obviously, the JMF car is running an incredible race. It's unfortunate to get by them this way, but, you know, I'll take it any way we can get it. Hopefully, Robbie gets it done, and we can celebrate.
Talking about poise, it looked like it really started to click for you at the Circuit of the Americas. How did you carry that forward here this weekend?
Yes, Coda felt a lot better than Sonoma. Was a bit off the pace there. Hadn't been in the car in a while, and I think genuinely being with faster people pushes you to go faster, kind of unlocks something. And obviously I still got a ways to go, but I'm at least keeping up with them, and, you know, hopefully I'll be battling more as the season goes on.
Just because the guys were referencing your new haircut at the beginning of the race, how's the mullet in this heat?
It's good. I'm working on it, trying to get it really aggressive. I'm going for like a Jeff Gordon rookie year vibe, so I got some more time, but hopefully by the end of the season it'll be really good, unless one of them cuts it first. They've been asking to do that, but I'm not going to allow it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
See a ponytail in his future.
No, don't give him any ideas. Well, it's his car out in front. Full faith in the team, as you heard from him, and for his co-driver and mentor. This is the oil dry that's been put down. Of course, that Mercedes was leaking something. That's what was leading to all the smoke, but pretty heads-up driving by a veteran driver, Mikhail Grenier, Cal.
Yeah, you can see he peels off at that point and tries to get out of harm's way. So you just try to think about what's going on in the machine initially, and then Secondarily, you then think about, okay, I need to get this car that's leaking oil off the racing line. So it's going to be a little bit of a test here. And Robbie Foley, unfortunately for him, yes, he has the track position, but he's the first driver to encounter the grip level that they got to deal with this oil dry. So as Rothberg said, he's got the poise. He's been in this position many times now with the experience with this group at Turner Motorsports, BMW factory driver. So he's just got to manage this, but there's some really quick cars behind him. You know they're going to be going for it. And what a story this is for Dollar Height Racing, sitting there in P2 with a shout-out victory after the week that they've had.
Really, any of the cars that are still there would be a great story. Let's set the table for you on what's about to transpire here when we go back green. Robbie Foley, Turner Motorsports, that's the BMW that leads overall. Cameron Lawrence in the car that was in pieces, questionable whether or not they'd be able to take part in the race just a few days ago. Zach Vanier, McCann Racing up to third. Fred Schandorf, they've had all kinds of issues in their week to this point. In that Ferrari, they had a power steering issue. They had a drive shaft failure, but they've had the pace here in this race.
They really have. I'm really looking forward to that Pro-Am battle as well. You got the two Mercedes up front, JMF Motorsports with Hannafin leading right now. Morad now is going to be right on his tail. Then you got Jan Halen, who was worried about the pace of Sargent. This is a great opportunity for the fastest man in this race to leap up onto the podium, maybe even go for the win here. Sits fourth in Pro-Am, and he's got the compressed field. He's got it all to play with 35 minutes to go. This is going to be sensational stuff.
Here is your Pro-Am leader. This is Lorcan Hannafin. Daniel Morad, also in a Mercedes. Second car through the shot right there. Now we wait for Jan Halen in the Porsche. Behind Jan, Tom Sargent, also in a Porsche. He's been the fastest driver all season long. Has the fastest lap of the race here at a 2:01.1. No one else better than a mid-2:01 so far in this race. There he is in the e-Boost machine right there, coming through the picture just off the podium as they run. Then Ryan Yardley comes through in another Porsche. Agostini in the Ferrari 4Tree RC. Keep an eye on him as well. He's been quick here. And on the list goes. Dickinson, Brown, Merrill, Lee, Hartog. They are all on the lead lap. Top 11 in the Pro-Am class. Still in with a chance here with 34 minutes to go.
Yeah, and again, we're just surmising that GMG went with that new set, then used set to finish this race. But we'll see if we can get confirmation from Amanda on that in terms of whether GMG do have sticker set on to finish here for Sargent, or whether he's going to be compromised a little bit with running that quali set to finish the race here.
Now, she said earlier that they were running the quali tires in the Tom's first stint.
Oh,
or I'm sorry. No, now I misread that, so I'm not entirely clear. Maybe we could get some clarity there, Amanda. Sorry about that. I think I misread your text earlier, and maybe it was stickers the first time. Yeah, that's what it was, or that's what we thought it was. Anyway, I'm talking myself in circles here.
We've got confirmation from Amanda. He's on quali tires now. So I think he went sticker. That's why he's laying down those really fast laps. They adopted a similar strategy for his opening stint at Coda by going fresh tires and light fuel load, I believe. That's why he's able to do those phenomenal lap times. So that's when it backfires on you a little bit, when you need that extra pace, that little edge in grip. And he's not going to have it if they've employed new tires for the finish.
Looks like it'll be at least one more lap behind the safety car, because there are still quite a few vehicles trying to deal with the potential of fluid of various descriptions down on the track from the stricken car of Mikhail Grenier. Saw that car on the flatbed a moment ago. Lights are still on the safety car here, so that would be indicative that we'll go around one more time. Hate to see this. What a great year they were putting together. Another strong race, and it was going to take something like this, frankly, I think, to beat them today.
Yeah, been a bit of a tough weekend for them. They had issues with their touring car championship leader as well. Braden Arthur had issues both days, didn't score any points, so he lost the championship lead. So tough day for JMF, who had been having such a sensational season. Not competing in Pirelli GT4 this year, but leading both TC and obviously the championship we're looking at here and now. And they're going to maintain that lead tonight. As we said, there's only a 15-point maximum swing with 5 cars in Pro, but even so, going from what would have been a 20+ plus building on that here today with the lead of the motor race to now only a 5-point spread, potentially heading to Road Atlanta.
Yeah, it would have been 27 points had Stevens and Grenier won and Rothberg and Foley come home in second. So pretty massive when you consider instead of 27, it's just 5. At least as they run. Not done yet, of course. Who do you have your eyes on the restart?
Schandorf, I think he may be able to go after Vanier pretty quick in this stint based on what he's displayed so far in terms of pace, and I'm really looking forward to that Pro-Am battle as well. I think Tom Sargent, despite that strategy we just discussed on used tires, he's still got monster pace, but he's got the veteran Jan Halen right in front of him, and, you know, give him a sniff of a win. He's going to be sitting behind those 2 Mercedes, see if he can go to work on them as well.
This is a big moment, I feel, for Lorcan Hannafin as well. The other JMF car trying to salvage something on what has actually turned into a somewhat difficult weekend for the team. They had a couple DNFs in the TC America races with their top championship driver there, as you noted. But for Hannafin, I mean, he came to the States to try and make a name for himself over here. This is a chance to do it with a stacked field of well-known GT drivers behind him.
Yeah, and he's got the pace, he's got the talent, but bringing it home here in a new championship is going to be a big feather in his cap if he can pull it off.
Describe these moments. You know you're in for a battle here for the final 30 minutes. Just collecting your thoughts.
Prepping the tires, that's really the key. You can see the drivers moving around now, so there's no concerns fuel-wise or anything silly like that, so you don't have to worry about that. You can afford to burn some fuel here, spin up the tires on the rear, make sure they're nice and clean, but just really using the brake pedal against the gas pedal, trying to develop some temperature just to make sure they're absolutely in their sweet spot. A lot of marbles out there right now. There's not been any sweepers put out there to clean the racetrack, so they almost create like a snowball. Imagine you're a kid and you roll a big snowball, a big ball of snow. It's what the tires are like with that rubber marble sitting off on the side of the racetrack, and it just sticks to these tires when they're hot like this mid-stint.
Here we go. Not much longer now, and we'll get this race back underway. 3 hours has boiled down to less than 30 minutes. This full course yellow has bunched the field up. It's totally changed the complexion of the race and of especially the Pro Class Championship, and so much still can change before it is all said and done. It'll be just under 29 minutes to go when we go back to green flag racing with Robbie Foley and Turner Motorsport in control. Tucked up as close as can be behind is Cameron Lawrence for Dollarhide Racing. Zach Vanier in the Porsche is third. Schandorf in the blue Ferrari is fourth. Here we go. Through turn 17, Foley picks up the pace.
Yeah, backed off way back from the safety car, given that ability to accelerate up to the brake zone for 17. Just fires it off. Schandorf right underneath Vanier there. They're side by side coming down into turn 1. The third and fourth place cars, the red and white Porsche up against the blue Ferrari. Schandorf makes it stick around the outside, looking for grip, just manages to hold on to it.
Finds just enough. That's the final step of the podium that changes hands. Morad looking left and right for the lead in Pro-Am. 2 Mercedes doing battle with Jan Halen, an interested spectator in the Porsche running third. Morad lunges to the inside of Hannafin.
Is there a touch? He does. May have elbowed him out there. Hannafin back on the racetrack, drops down to P3, maybe P4 as Halen now goes for the lead. Sargent has whipped around the outside of Hannafin as well, it looks like, moved up to P3 in class.
Yeah, Morad lost the momentum slightly. Here comes Halen drawing alongside, but can't make it work the long way around down in turn 7. Bodywork loose again for the GMG Porsche. Hasn't slowed them down much so far, but Tom Sargent pushing on. This is his chance to star.
Absolutely. We wondered whether he could force his way to the front, but right now he's got a wounded race car a little bit. It looks like that bodywork is up on top of the splitter again, as Hannafin is going to be fired up. I'm not sure if he got elbowed there by Morad or just got out in the dirt and couldn't get the grip.
It was close, no doubt about it. Not sure if there was contact either. Daniel pretty forceful there, but he's been known to be fair in those situations. So up a spot, up to the lead of the race with Jan Halen chasing.
P5 is Ryan Yardley coming off that brilliant victory at Coda. Can he make some magic happen here again today? Haven't really displayed the pace to think that he can get to the front, but he sits there in P5 right behind Hannafin, and there's Agostini back in the mix as well.
Oh yeah, that's where my eyes are. That gold and black Ferrari, resplendent in the sunshine as the sun starts to set. Headlights starting to glare a little bit on the run down the Ullman Straight into the final 27 minutes of the race. Agostini looking to put the move on the Porsche of Yardley.
Rolls big speed into 17. Don't discount Dickinson right behind them as well.
Agostini caught that bump in a strange way. That might have him vulnerable now to the man you just highlighted, Riley Dickinson. Black and pink Porsche to the outside of the Ferrari, side by side into one. Dickinson, can he carry the speed around the outside? Is there enough grip out there?
No, he has to give it up a little bit. Agostini makes it stick by the time they get to the exit of turn 1.
How about Luke Hartog and John Gilliland? They're back into the mix in the cow-themed car. That car was a lap down at one point, but got the wave by, and they're back in the thick of things here with a really quick Dutchman behind the wheel.
Dust is flying literally as they come through turn 5 there. Everyone battling it out right now. Foley to the good by about 7/10 up front overall and in pro. Lawrence hanging on, Shandorf putting the pressure on.
Everyone's settling down now, more or less single file. Look at Foley, the gap he's been able to build. 7/10 of a second to Lawrence, then Shandorf, Vanier coming through. Now to the leader in Pro-Am. Blue Mercedes of Morad with the Porsche of Jan Halen just behind. And here comes Tom Sargent, loose body work and all. Can anything slow him down? So far, the answer has been no.
Oh, this is awesome stuff here. Two Porsches going to go hard up against it, but Morad has got the lead and in control for TR3 Racing.
Daniel will be difficult to supplant there, given his level of motivation, given his level of experience. Looks like that Mercedes is getting stronger into these conditions. We're into the twilight now, Calvin. Conditions we really haven't seen cars run in a whole lot so far in the build-up to this race. This is a bit of an unknown now.
Yeah, it could change the balance of the race cars a little bit. You're going to get a little bit more grip as the ambient cools down, and track surface in particular as the sun starts to fade away a little bit here and takes away some of those extremities on the racetrack. So who really focused in on that session last night and really found the sweet spot with their race car? We knew Hartog was quickest, but he's buried a little bit in this Pro-Am pack right now.
Yep, he's made his way up to 8th. Dickinson next target for him as we stop to watch the field stream past. Side-by-side fight here. That looked like it could have been Hartog fighting with Colin Brown. That would be Luke on the defensive if so.
Cam Lawrence's matching Robbie Foley here is actually about 0.5 quicker there on that last lap. Shandorf is not displaying the same pace. He's about 3 or 4 tenths off the two leaders, so the Ferrari not making an impression so far towards the end of this race.
Makes you wonder if they might be on the alternate tire strategy because he was really quick in the previous stint. Something to ponder, but just speculation. Now, this could be an interesting dynamic for Morad, whose lead is growing in Pro-Am, but he's about to catch some out-of-class traffic.
Just been looking at the notice board. I didn't see anything come up about the argy-bargy. I'm not sure if they touched or not, or whether Hannafin just got really wide there through turn 5 and had to get up on the curb and use the dirt there, and that allowed Morad to get through, as did others at the same time.
To be honest, at first blush, I did not think there was contact, but it happened rather quickly. Love to see it again, but Race Control certainly has had the opportunity to look at it if that's something they wanted to do. So far, we've had no notification that that's even been a consideration.
Yeah, certainly a new lease of life for Morad. It looked like Hannafin had things under control until that yellow, and Daniel said, I've been here before, I got a punch now, whilst I got that potential right in front of me.
Now that's a driver who knows this series, knows the tire, knows the car. A lot of things in his favor, and took full advantage of all that experience, and now he's got his head down. But he has to figure out what to do with Zach Vanier. For now, it's not costing him time relative to the rest of the class. But that could change, especially if Sargent were able to get around Halen. We think that's still the quickest car in Pro-Am right now.
I think Vanier could be a problem here. To your point, Daniel Morad is a little bit quicker than him by about 0.5 second on previous laps. That one again, so he's got more pace than Vanier. Doesn't want to get stymied too much in case some of those faster Pro-Am cars get right on his tail.
Two countrymen, Vanier, about a decade or so, Morad's junior, but I think can look at Daniel and the career he's made for himself as a bit of an inspiration. This is a look at it. I don't think there was any touch.
Didn't see a touch. I thought he'd forced him out there, but I think he just got to the inside, and that made Hannafin on board. This will tell the tale. More listening than watching, really, to see if there was a brush, but I don't think there was. I think Hannafin realized he was there, tried to give him a little bit of room, then ran out of grip.
Agreed. Had there been enough contact to force him out there, I think we would have heard a thunk. But the audio tells the tale in this case. Down to the final 21 minutes. Halen has his mirrors full. We foreshadowed this earlier. This was even before the yellow. We thought Sargent could catch him, but I cautioned. Passing Jan Halen is about as difficult of an accomplishment as you will have in this paddock, and it's been true for years now.
It
and
really
with all
has.
due respect to Jan, he is awfully good at knowing exactly where to position that car.
Yeah, and he's not a dirty driver, but he's just really dogged in his determination to hang on every track position. I don't care if he's battling for 7th and 8th or a win, you're going to get the same treatment.
This is Jan's adopted home state. He's done a lot of racing here at Sebring over the years. Came to the U.S. to be an IndyCar driver and did achieve that dream. Drove for Eric Bachelard, his countryman, in what was then the Champ Car World Series. Opportunities in open wheel dried up, and he has reinvented himself as a really solid set of hands, whether it's a GT4 car or a GT3, but he has one of the up-and-coming stars now right there on his tail. This is as close as Sargent has been. He'll have to go the long way around if he's going to get it done.
Wow, Sargent's car has a lot of straightaway speed. Porsche versus Porsche around the outside. Jan Halen's going to give him some breathing room. Can Sargent make it stick? Halen's now got the inside line, and he gives it to him. So Sargent on the march now. Now what can he do with that clean air on the front end of that Porsche? Can he go chase down Morad? And that's going to force Morad's hand a little bit on Vanier.
Exactly, that changes the entire thought process. There's JP Martinez, hands together as if in prayer, watching his teammate Jan Halen dropping that spot. It still could be a podium, though, in what is effectively his and the team's home race.
Yeah, that was super impressive by Tom Sargent. I mean, that Porsche just has to have prodigious speed there just to come out of that corner in the draft and basically get alongside. That was amazing.
Now, what will Morad do with Vanier? How quickly can Sargent arrive on the scene? Remember, he should be at a minor tire deficit to Morad based on the intel we've received. Let's check the sector times here. Morad through sector 1, a 36.5. That was quicker than Sargent, but Sargent was still in the fight at the time. How about sector 2, Cal?
Yeah, Sargent a couple of tenths quicker, so we'll let it settle down a little bit. So the other problem is for Morad, you know, he's stymied a bit with Vanier. He's got dirty air on the front end of his Mercedes. Sargent's in relatively a clean spot right now. You can see the little gap that he's got to work with. Morad's going to be getting the information. How many laps do I have? About 9-10 laps to go in this motor race, so that's a lot of time for Sargent to cut into what is about a 2-second gap, I believe, to Morad.
Sargent across the line, sector 3 that time.
2 tenths better as well.
Okay.
So this will be the telltale. He lost a lot of time in that first sector, but now he's got through on Jan Halen. Now he's running sector times much quicker than Morad, and Morad's going to get that knowledge. You'd have to feel from TR3. Gregory Romanelli and the group there are going to be giving him the information. There's the squad. There's the brain trust there.
TR3 stands for the Romanelli 3 brothers, Gregory, Arthur, and Oliver. Have been running that team out of Davie, Florida for quite a long time. Gregory was an excellent racing driver with his own right, but had a serious crash back in 2016. Overcame significant injuries, kind of reinvented himself as a team boss. Amazing what they've built.
It really is. They burst onto the scene at St. Pete, I think, a short while after that incident you were recalling there, and they put Daniel Mancinelli on board that plain, bright yellow Ferrari, and no one knew anything about the kid and the team, and boy, they surprised. I think they put the car on pole at St. Petersburg, as I recall, so just sensational stuff. But it seems like Sargent is pulling 2/10 every sector on Morad right now, so that message has to come down.
Incident responsibility, 10-second post-race penalty. That's for the leader in Pro-Am, Morad.
Yeah, it had to have been for Hannafin, I would have to think. So
If I
we
can
didn't see a bump.
message about something being reviewed. I don't. So I can't say what the two cars involved were. Wonder if that is Greg Romanelli getting that message. That totally changes this dynamic now. And you wonder if Daniel can call in a favor with his younger countrymen here and say, hey, help a fellow Canadian out, why don't you? Let me through.
I don't think that's going to be enough. I don't think he's going to gap Sargent by 8 seconds plus right now, which is what he's going to need to do to maintain a 10-second gap.
Sure, maybe it doesn't help him in the battle for the win, but it still could be the difference in a position or two.
Yeah, I didn't see contact.
No.
I mean, yeah, it was really strong driving there by Daniel Morad, but they're going to have many looks at it. They have some circuit cameras they can get review on as well, so not an easy call to make, but they felt that. I'd have to think it's that incident. I don't really call anything else that Daniel's been involved with.
Well, not that's been on our screens. We've got a line of communication from our TV truck to race control, so we're working on getting an answer to that question. As soon as we have it, we'll pass it along. And now, all Daniel can do is put his head down and try and go as fast as possible, build a margin, and above all, hope this race does not end under yellow with a condensed field. That would make that 10-second penalty all the more painful.
Yeah, just massive. That's already going to drop him well down the order. Let's take a look. He's 17. Yeah, boy, it's going to drop him down almost outside the top 10 in class right now. He's got a 9-second gap on Andy Lee, who sits in 10th. So got a feeling that he's going to maybe spread that a little bit further, but it's going to be deep in the top 10 versus a win. Up front, Foley, as you can see, gapping Cam Lawrence, seems to be in control of this motor race. I think the biggest surprise for me is Shandorf not being able to eat into the gap there between P2 and P3 that they currently sit in. As his teammate alluded to, he thinks Robbie's the man for the job here, just has been there so many times now. He's now the mentor in a Turner Motorsports equation for many years. Bill Overland was kind of teaching Robbie the ropes, and now Robbie's kind of returning the favor to young drivers such as Justin Rothberg to showcase what they can do in this sport as well.
Well, our question to race control has been answered. Turn 3, lap 69. That was 6 laps ago. That's the root of this penalty. That could be pretty darn painful for the TR3 team. They're leading on the road here, but that certainly will go away. And now it's a matter of just how far down the order he might fall. It's the team again, processing all of this along with us. You know, it's interesting, there was a point of emphasis at the drivers' meeting, Cal, about making sure you leave room for your competitors, not pushing anyone wide. Maybe that's part of what played into this here.
Yeah, can't really comment without seeing it. I mean, we obviously saw what happened in turn 5, which is 2 corners later. We assume on the same lap. We have to believe it was under that restart, right? Because we were under yellow for many laps. I'm not sure you can get a penalty under yellow. So we assume it was on the green flag restart lap. You said 9 minutes ago, right?
I said it was on lap 69, so 6 laps ago.
Okay. So
which I think would
ago.
be correct.
Yeah. It was about when we went back to green.
Right.
So I'd imagine he was forcing the issue down into 3. They kind of survived there through a couple of corners, and then suddenly Hannafin was off the road on the exit of turn 5.
I think we've got a chance to go back and review this one more time. This is what we have from the outside of the incident. Let's watch here for Morad.
This is turn 3, so nothing happened there. Now we go on board with him. Let's listen. I don't think there was a touch. I think Hannaford just recognized he was to the inside, tried to get grip around the cushion, so to speak, and just ran off the road. So, you know, I mean, you can't reverse a penalty because everyone else's strategy. You think about Sargent, if he's being told, like this guy in front of you, has a 10-second penalty, you can't suddenly change it after the effects. Not like you can go back after the race and reverse that, because that's unfair on the drivers that are adopted not to force the issue here and go for the win. But if that's what we've seen, it's they must have got another piece of video that we're not seeing, so I don't see it from that.
And on the subject of whether or not enough room was left, it seemed like Morad stayed as close to the apex as you could ask anyone to.
Try to win a motor race.
Right. But again, this is just us trying to put the pieces together. Race Control has several more angles that we don't have, so you know what?
Yep.
They know their business. They're in that position for a reason. We'll just do the best to convey the information as it comes to us.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Dan's just got to keep his head down, and Sargent is right there with him. And you'd have to think that Sargent's got that information from GMG, knowing that the leader has an issue. Is that car slowing momentarily?
Might have been. This is a car that, yeah, it certainly is, because Dickinson was 10th at the beginning of this lap, and he has dropped several positions. The car behind was 14th. He's back on the pace now, so whatever it was momentary. Now that, I wonder about leaving room. That was a fight with Hartog. A couple of teammates.
Yeah.
I mean, good, just one look at it there, but that to me is the kind of thing that they have been trying to cut out of the various races we've seen.
Suddenly saw him, and he didn't seem to have the same rate of speed, does he, coming through 11 and 12 there. So that's the reason why I just got forced a little bit there in turn 10, which is Cunningham Corner. So people putting it all on the line right now, and it's going to get a little feistier. It was said in a drivers meeting yesterday, so it seems to be forgotten at times.
Well, that's the nature of it. You put the helmet on, you're in the final 30 minutes of one of these races. You get a chance to go get a result, pick up a spot, whatever the case may be. And Racer's instinct is to go for it. Fastest Sector 3 time belongs to Robbie Foley at Turner Motorsport. Not by much, but by enough. And his lead has ballooned 3.3 seconds.
We talk about Shandorf. Both he and Foley just ran lap times 2:01.9. So I got a feeling that Cam Lawrence is going to have to respond here. Otherwise, that Ferrari's going to catch him here at the rate of knots that he's carrying here. So again, we talked about the fact with Dollar Height Racing's problems here this weekend, not getting any real solid track time. Could this bite them a little bit late in the going here with a long green flag run?
Right, they might not have the data on how the tires last over a long stint. Exactly. And so that is setting up a Ford versus Ferrari battle here at Sebring. That goes down and echoes through the ages, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Newest edition, though, with this updated Mustang, updated Ferrari 2. The 296 GT3 Evo. Car that in many respects revolutionized GT3 racing, being built into easily replaceable components, almost like a prototype, of course, in conjunction with Orica, which has built so many prototypes over the years. It's a great car, and other manufacturers have had to respond in kind with how quick repairs can be done on this modular design of the 296.
Yeah, let's take a look here. I think he's taking another 0.6 out of Cam Lawrence's gap there on this last lap. They flash across the stripe one more time. Look at it, yeah, half a second on that lap. So Foley just did a 201.8, Lawrence a 202.4, and Shandorf a 201.9.
Still pushing, still quick, even this deep into the 3-hour race. So what would this 10-second penalty do to Morad? I think all the way down, just ahead between Dickinson and Lee, basically.
Yeah, we talked about this a short while ago, and it hasn't changed much. He may have enough to, at the time, Lee was going to be in front of him. Problems here for Colin Brown.
Wow. This car was 8th in class, 12th overall.
Yeah, I think around 9th, 10th maybe right now, so.
And that's fluid. Keeps changing depending on the gap, of course.
Okay, so this will help Morad a little bit as well. Gain another position back.
Let's take a look and see what we can see. Oh, contact, I think. Looked like that was Dickinson.
Yeah.
Now another one for race control to sort out. We've got a few that are under review all of a sudden. That's one of them.
With teammates as well.
Yeah, and the 13 car is under review in 2 of these. So Dickinson and Hartog. And we saw that a few moments ago, right? Didn't we?
Yeah, I think the Hartog one is probably a home run, and maybe that one as well.
It's going to be a busy time in race control over the next 6 minutes and change. Some of those might get ruled on after the checkered flag. Interesting dynamic, though, because in each case, that was contact between teammates.
Yes, to times for Foley are super impressive here. New Sector 3 fast time of the day for Foley here late in the going, so it just really demonstrates that the conditions are starting to cool off here a little bit. Track is developing a bit more grip, but also these Pirelli P0s are doing an awesome job here under these extreme conditions, and Foley's certainly in a sweet spot. A really fast car in qualifying. He told me he thought the car was in a good place after that, and this is going to be the real battle here. Shandov has certainly displayed a bit more pace, but we've seen how resilient Cam Lawrence can be. We saw it in Sonoma when Foley's right behind him for the last, 30 minutes of the race, I think it was, and he didn't fade, so he's up for the test.
We were talking about how it's been a sleepless couple of days for the Dollarhide team because of all the repairs and late nights, things like that. The only one who has slept less is probably Cam Lawrence, because he's had a new baby in the house all week.
Yeah, well, he's not going to sleep much for these next 5 minutes, that's for sure, with Freddie all over the back of him.
No. This is really fascinating, too. You know, Schandorf's an established name internationally. Cam Lawrence, if you follow sports car racing, Trans Am, things like that closely in the States, you'll know he's pretty accomplished. He's won at Daytona before. But I think it's the matchup between teams that I think is fascinating, right? Dollarhide Racing, only second year racing at the GT3 level against AF Corsa. They are as good of a sports car team globally as you will find.
Yeah, and I think when we get to some of these tracks where the Mustang runs at in other GT3 competition, that must give Dollarhide Racing a little bit of a notebook as well, particularly with this new Evo kit. So we had the Sebring 12 Hours for Multimatic, for example, raced here. They would have given them a little bit of information to really create this setup, because they didn't have a lot of track time to develop it, and the car seemed strong immediately. In that practice session this morning, we were amazed that he had that pace.
Right. I mean, they came in really late in the session, having missed all of the first practice, basically missed all of practice 2, came in right at the end, and were right away mid-pack, just a couple laps in, which, yeah, mid-pack doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you consider what they've been through, then backed it up and went even faster in qualifying.
Yeah, the cars looked really solid here, and I mean, Cam knows what he's got to do. He's got to hit his marks and then just use the launch off the corners. Mustang seems to be equal to everyone, including the BMW down the straightaway, so he's got a strong race car. He's just got to make sure he doesn't make that little mistake. And he's got the experience these days to make it stick, but Freddie Shandorf, you know he's going to be wringing the neck of that Ferrari trying to find a way through.
In a sense, back-to-back home races for Cam Lawrence. He calls Austin home these days, but he's from Windermere, Florida, so spent his formative years around these parts. Two-time Trans Am TA2 champion. That was back-to-back, 2013, 2014. This, though, is the new challenge to help this young team step into top-level pro GT3 racing. Paired up with the young Briton Alex Sedgwick, and right now, giving this car a great run, but he's got his hands full to hang on for second place.
Yeah, you can see there through 13, Freddie's able to roll a little bit more speed with that Ferrari, but can't go anywhere with it, and Cam knows that. He's got a really wide Mustang right now. He's just got to put it in the right places on the racetrack, use it straightaway speed to not be threatened into the brake zone, really focus like a good clean exit here off of turn 16.
Schandorf's been super busy. 5 straight weeks driving Ferraris all around the globe. He has been as sharp as he's ever been in his career, he says, by virtue of the fact that he's had so many opportunities to go racing here recently. No white flag this time. It'll be this lap one more. 2 drive-through penalties assessed. One to the 88 and the other to the 13. So Hartog and Dickinson each given a drive-through for incident responsibility.
Oh, great for Kelly Moss. You got Colin Brown on the back foot and haven't got pushed out wide, and then the 2 cars are now coming down pit lane. This is a race day that's gone upside down for that group in the late going.
Yeah, this is a top-level team, Kelly Moss. About a day to forget. They'll learn from this and grow. And I'm sure some conversations will be had that there were these 2 penalties there. There will be some conversations to be had there, given the penalties with contact with teammates. Down to just over a minute to go. Can Cameron Lawrence hang on? Fred Schandorf is closing in.
Does he surprise him here? Does he take risk in trying to get that position? But right now, Cam is doing everything he needs to do. Watch here in 13. Cam's going to park a little bit more. Freddie's probably going to roll speed through Apex. Right there, you see it. But Cam just getting good, clean exits, not dropping wheels, not making a mistake, just using every ounce of his experience, relying on what he got in terms of confidence with that excellent podium run at the season opener at Sonoma when he had Foley all over him, just like Freddie is right now.
It's nice and smooth. Look at Schandorf, though, up and over the curb there, trying to get the best run through turn 16. He's in the slipstream, flashing those headlights, filling up the mirrors of Cameron Lawrence. They'll see the white flag around turn 17, so just over 1 lap to go in this fight for second place.
I think if you took a track map and drew it with a pencil, you couldn't create a wider line through 16 than Freddie Schandorf created there in that Ferrari. He was all the way over the curbs in 16 and all the way on the curb on the exit of 17. He is close to Cam Lawrence, closer than he's ever been in the shadows here.
Shows the nose. Lawrence won't fall for it. Foley's lead, 7.4 seconds. Lawrence gets a nice run over the bumps in turn 1. Schandorf as close as he has been, however, on the final lap of this 3-hour race. Second place up for grabs as Schandorf puts the nose to the bumper of the Mustang.
Loses the tail of the Ferrari, lost the car length right there.
And he's right back on it and starting to close in once more. Great passing opportunity right here at the end of this straightaway down in turn 7.
Immense pressure on Cam Lawrence. He has resisted that challenge so far here today. Can he hang on for half a lap?
Schandorf trying for all he's worth. This team has been through its ups and downs this weekend too. Power steering issue, drive shaft issue, cost them significant practice time as well. It's not been a super easy weekend for AF Corsa either. Their travails pale in comparison, admittedly, compared to the Dollarhide team and this Mustang. But for both of these teams to have a chance here to fight at the end of this 3-hour race for second place, that has to feel like a monumental achievement.
It really does. Look at that. Cam Lawrence just hitting his marks, has not faltered whatsoever. Just stoic here in this defensive P2 in this motor race. What a result that would be for that group.
And he's pulling out an advantage, Calvin. It's up over a car length now. This is as much cushion as he has had in some time. Schandorf about loses it. Got caught up on the rough edge of that curb there, but he kept his foot in it. He's still close, but he'll have to come from a long way back.
Yeah, I think he's further back than he was on the previous lap, so I think Cam Lawrence is in great shape here. Foley heading into turn 17.
At the front of the field, the opportunity opened up with the problems for JMF. Turner Motorsport took full advantage. Justin Rothberg and Robbie Foley are race winners in the Pro Class for the first time. Turner Motorsport reigns supreme in Sebring. Lawrence holds off Schandorf for second. Vanier will come home in fourth. Now we wait for the battle in the Pro-Am class. Morad wins on the road, but on adjusted time, it goes to GMG Racing. Tom Sargent does it again. And the Iron Man, Kyle Washington, caps off his marathon day with a race win.
Yeah, fantastic. They will be pumped. What a great performance by Tom Sargent. Shame for Daniel Morad. We didn't see exactly the bump that got the penalty, but either way, he's plummeting down the order now.
Ends up 6th place, and that does not tell the full story. That will be a difficult one to swallow for that team. There is Daniel still pushing hard here as the rest are cooling off, and I wonder if he's just been told what the situation is. And
yeah, he's fired up, and he got bumped up the order a little bit because of the penalties to the Kelly Moss cars and Colin Brown being roughed up a little bit as well. So it would have been about a 9th, 10th place finish, but a little bit of salve in the wound for finishing P6.
Expect so. Meanwhile, the AM class car, they make it to the finish, and that is no small feat on a hot day like today. Oz Negri brought it home. Jay Schreibman got them started. Well done. Braving the heat, braving the conditions, bringing that car home in one piece. Well, that race totally changed with the mechanical issue for Mikael Grenier, who was leading by well over 20 seconds at the time. Tons of smoke suddenly coming out of that car, lots of fluid down on the track, had to park it in a safe place, but it brought out a full course yellow, and that upended this race.
It did, created opportunity for others, and really spiced it back up again. It seemed to be a dominant victory. You had over a minute on the field, and then that technical issue aboard the JMF Mercedes. You don't expect to see that. These cars are so reliable these days, but again, Sebring, it can work anything loose. Was it an oil fitting or whatever that came loose because of the bumps here at Sebring? It will certainly test man and machine every single time.
So at the end of 3 hours, we take stock of what just transpired and take a peek at the results of this race. 3rd race of the season, and for the first time, it belongs to Turner. Big win in the pro class, first of its kind for Rothberg. Foley's been there before, but for Justin, his first year in the pro class after Pro-Am titles the last couple of seasons, ends up coming right here at Sebring. Ahead of Sedgwick and Lawrence, what a great story of perseverance that is. Kompank and Schandorf, they overcame a penalty early in the race to get back to the podium. That's not nothing either. McCann and Vanier showed good pace at times. They finished in 4th in class as well as overall, but how about GMG? Tom Sargent did his thing. We built him up, and he lived up to the hype. And how about Kyle Washington? My goodness, he's been in a race car more this weekend than anybody else in the paddock.
Yeah, and he's got another one tomorrow, but
That's
as he
right.
said, I'm taking it a day at a time, not thinking about that GT America Race 2 here this weekend on Sunday morning.
Best finish of the season for RS1. Martinez and Hagelin, they've been on the podium in all 3 races so far. 2/3 and now a 2nd place. Daskalos and Hannafin, all right, it wasn't what it could have been. It looked like maybe a win was in the cards without that yellow, but at least they have something to show for their pace. That's the first time in 3 races that they've been able to take anything away points-wise.
Yeah, spraying some champagne tonight will feel good for that group.
Yardley and Musial, overall winners the last time out. They finished in 4th today, and Mascaro and Agostini overcoming some miscues early in the race. All in all, pretty good result there. But the ones wondering what if, Morad and Williams certainly on that list. You go down to the bottom, Stevens and Grenier, DeBoer and Erickson too. I mean, they were in for a potential top 5. And how about Todd Coleman and Aaron Tielitz yet again? They were leading when a mechanical issue struck.
Incredible, the luck that they've had, or the lack of it, should I say. Just so much pace and potential. Both from Todd's done a great job, and Aaron is just on top of his game right now. So bitterly disappointed, I'm sure, that whole group.
Yeah, I really feel for them, all the effort that goes into it, and something small goes awry. And you got to regroup again, try and come back stronger the next time. And the next time is at Road Atlanta, another classic track here in North America. I mean, really, that's the whole calendar, isn't it? That's the beauty of racing in this championship. You get a chance to go to some of the best circuits in the country. This one here at Sebring certainly ranks as one of those. There's Tom Sargent disconnecting the radio, taking a moment to process what just happened. It's another win for this duo. They started the season strong at Sonoma and came back with another win here now at Sebring.
Yeah, there's so much pace in that race car, and Tom Sargent on top of his game. Kyle Washington, he's got the raw pace for you know, the Am and the Pro-Am lineup, and he's one of the best. And when he's on his game, he really can do a great job, and he did a really awesome job of setting the table, getting out of a GT America car, jumping on board this machine, and didn't falter. Really kept it nice and clean there in the opening stint.
I think that would be enough to put Washington and Sargent into the lead, I believe by 7 over Musial and Yardley. They did well to salvage that day. That wasn't necessarily looking like it was going to be a great result at one point, and end up just off the podium.
Yeah, a decent points day, and that's what you have to do on your bad days, just kind of maximize the score, try and keep it clean.
Martinez and Halen as well scoring good points today, and they're in the midst of that championship battle in the Pro-Am class. Celebrations starting to get underway. Tom Sargent with a big breath of air intake there. Now a smile as he realizes he's on candid camera.
He looks pretty fresh.
Not too bad, right?
Unbelievable.
All things considered. Well, let's hear from our winners. We'll start in the Pro class, Amanda.
And got to finish off this 3-hour race by parking this BMW right here in front of the podium at Sebring. And we talked to Justin ahead of that. Full course yellow after that for that restart. We knew it was going to be exciting, but he said you were the one to beat. How much do you enjoy those moments, Robbie?
Yeah, it was good fun. It was tough. The track temp started dropping, so it took me a while to get my tires to get going at the end there. But once we did, the Turner guys and girls gave me a great late creep BMW today, and yeah, it's awesome to get back in victory lane, first time in the Pro class, and an overall win. So hate to see that for our competitors earlier in the race, but yeah, that's racing, and we'll take it.
I hope we'll find Justin here at some point. Justin, if you can hear me on the loudspeaker, I'm looking for you, bud. But let's just talk about his development here this season. A win here. Can this put you guys into championship contention in the Pro class?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, every weekend he's getting a bit better, and you know, here and Coda and here he's done really a great job. Nice work. Late to the party.
Yeah, we got stuck in traffic.
I see.
Was there a question?
Good job.
Thank you very much. Feels awesome. It would have been great to, you know, not get it through a car dropping out, but they ran a really strong race. But, you know, we were there. Foley finished it off really strong. The car was amazing. The guy set up a great car, so I'll take it. And hopefully we'll get the real one this season.
We were talking about championship contention for you in the Pro class. Could it be possible?
Well, we weren't even supposed to do Road Atlanta, but now I might have to be late to a wedding and do the full season, so we'll see what we can do.
Congratulations to Turner Motorsports for the win here in Sebring. I do believe that I can walk over to our Pro-Am winners, and what an absolute day for this team and for Kyle Washington. I'm going to start with the man that brought it home. That full course yellow went through your mind.
When I saw it come up on the dash, I was like, oh, thank God, because we missed it at Coda, and that would have been what we needed, and we didn't get it, but we got it at this round. So, you know, some you win, some you lose. In this time, we won this one, so that's good. But big thanks to the team. The car was obviously good, and yeah, K-Dub drove amazing.
An injured Porsche for you as well that suddenly fixed itself during the race. What was that like for you?
So obviously I had a little bit of contact, and I could see the fenders weren't quite in place, and I was like, oh. And I come on the radio, I'm like, hey guys, is it right? And they're like, no, it fixed itself. So thank God, because I threw it off when it wasn't quite right and lost its position again, but magically fixed itself. And yeah, we were able to finish the race.
Kyle, you were hoping for a full course yellow to give Tom Sargent the shot at this, and boy, did he deliver. But your day, where do you rank this one in your racing career?
Well, it was definitely a big effort, and I'm in desperate need of a shower. I can just tell you that. And yeah, it might be a big night for the boys.
How well will you sleep tonight?
I'm kind of sleepy already. We're gonna have a couple beers and see how that works out.
Congratulations to those guys as I head over to our AM winners here for Oz Negri and Jay Schreibman. And you guys, I know it's always such an adventure out there for you, but it was hot. There is no question about it. How do you guys manage that?
Brutal. The cool suit, as you can see, and the cramping started on stint 2, and I was like, oh boy, we got to get through this. But it was a great drive. The first time driving at night like that, so just super fun. Awesome to drive the Ferrari for GFL and Patillo, and we had a great day today.
Oz, I know a lot of the teams have been really excited to head on to Road Atlanta. What are the plans for you guys and hopes?
No, we're definitely going testing there. You know, we every race we are up in our pace. You know, like at the end, you know, I was running with everyone, so I was very happy with it. The car was amazing. Our engineers did a great job giving us a great car. So one more win.
Congratulations to our AM winners here today. I do want to point out, I do see the Ford Mustang team over there with smiles on their face. Another win, I would think of attrition for this team of what they were able to pull off in a runner-up finish.
It was a remarkable job. So the day started just over 3 hours ago. Race into the sunset in Sebring in blazing hot conditions. 95 degrees in the air when the green flag came out. Mackay Stevens on pole position for the third time in as many races here this year. Behind him, though, pretty fierce fights all throughout the field. This was for position in the Pro-Am class. Change of spots momentarily. Pit stops started pretty early. Everyone learning from the race at Circuit of the Americas 2 weeks ago. Spin here for Sebastian Mascaro. That was a setback for them. They had been on the pole in the Pro-Am class and were up at the front early on. Big problems here. That was the leader in Pro-Am pulling off. Aaron Tiewitz behind the wheel. This was a wild moment. You saw the bodyboard come loose for Tom Sargent. Somehow, doing that, put it back in place. Go figure. You hear about Sebring braking cars. Apparently, it can fix them too. Side-by-side fight, Mustang and BMW. Ultimately, too much pace from the Turner boys, but this is when the race changed. Problems for JMF, a mechanical issue, smoke billowing from out under the hood of that car. They were out, scored 5th place points, and that opened the door for Robbie Foley and Turner to come to the front. Side-by-side fight between a couple of Mercedes there. Daniel Morad given a penalty, we think, for that incident. That dropped him down the order in the final analysis. But meanwhile, Tom Sargent on the restart was spectacular. Around Jan Halen, then closed in behind Morad, close enough to benefit from that time penalty, and ultimately it gave GMG the victory. At the front of the field, though, in the Pro Class, Turner Motorsport, its first win of the season in that Pro Class. Foley and Rothberg teaming up to get it done. Sargent and Washington in Pro-Am, Oz Negri, and Jay Schreiben winners in AM. Such a different environment now from the way things started. Some cloud cover overhead, the sun certainly going down in the west, and we've got a fireworks show still to come here tonight for the hardy race fans that have made their way out to Sebring. Tell you what, that packed a whole lot of punch into 3 hours, and that last restart, that was as frantic as we thought it might be.
Yeah, it certainly compressed the field. We knew there's some cars that were slightly out of position. They had a bit more pace over others that were ahead of them, but great job by Foley and Rothberg getting their first pro win together. Throws them right back into championship contention, only 5 points back. Cam Lawrence and Alex Sedgwick, that was a monster effort by that whole group at Dollar Height Racing to have the crash here on Friday to rebound and get the car back on track was just immense.
And how good was Cam Lawrence under pressure there for the final 10 minutes?
He's the real deal. I mean, we knew he's got a great resume behind him, but to have the pressure from someone like Foley at Sonoma and resist that challenge, and then Shandorf today, yeah, get the guys in track position. They're going to hold on to it seems.
Podium's about to get started. We'll begin, it looks like, with the Pro Class. It is a third place and a hard-fought third for AF Corsa USA. Matias Perez Compact on the left, the young Argentinian with his Danish comrade alongside Fred Shandorf. Fred's got to be wondering, who's Cameron Lawrence? I don't think they've raced against one another a whole lot before this year, but again, we'll leave with a newfound respect for his competitors here in GT World Challenge America.
Yeah, it's a lovely story, and for these guys, Rothberg, Foley, just great chemistry with those the whole group there at Turner Motorsport, and this is a big step up, as Justin said. I'm with faster drivers now. It's making me raise my game a little bit, and he had a really solid opening stint there, really set the table for Robbie today.
Well, that continues the trend. I think we've talked about it in previous races for Rothberg. It seems like when the challenge increases, he rises to it. We saw that in GT America going up against Johnny O'Connell and Memo Gidley. The last couple of years in Pro-Am where he can measure himself against some really experienced bronzes as it was at the time. And now the new challenge is to be the silver in this pro lineup where a silver is required.
Yeah, and he's got the perfect mentor and co-driver teammate in Robbie Foley. I mean, Robbie is on top of his game. He demonstrates that with some of those qualifying performances that he put in. Remember last year when they had that rewards weight almost on the car, the derogation weight, and he was still putting in lap times in qualifying equal to the random Vandal squad of Kenton Cook and Connor DeFilippi. So he's really on top of his game right now, and that really allows them to get the results they're getting.
And the relationship now into the third year as co-drivers, and I think it goes back a little bit beyond that as well. That's so important to turn up to the racetrack. You know each other's ins and outs. You know what makes each other tick. And you know, if you're Robbie, the right word to say in the right moment to Justin to get the most out of him.
Yeah, I've never seen Robbie Foley ruffle. Do you know what I mean?
No.
He just seems to stay super calm, and I think that then bleeds through the whole group. And he does a lot there at Turner Motors. He doesn't just drive the race car. He's really actively involved during the week there in the orchestration of the whole team and putting all the pieces together.
Only time I think I've ever heard him upset is when I crashed a car at an iRacing race when he was my teammate.
Oh, really?
Oops. There's some mitigating circumstances, but that's a story for another day. Here's the points in the pro class, and this has totally changed. Only 5 points now, the lead for Stevens and Grenier. How quickly those 2 race wins can slip away with one bad day like today.
Yeah, it's a great point. We talked about only 7 opportunities to score this year, and they look like they're on a roll, going for their 3rd straight. That would have really been a different look here to the points tonight, almost insurmountable. But yeah, the blip on their championship season has definitely served a blow to those considerations moving forward. So they've got to get back on the horse. As Mackay Stevens said, we just got to focus forward, look forward to Road Atlanta, and go do what we do.
Yep, that's the plan. We'll see if the Turner team and specifically Justin Rothberg shows up, but boy, it is tempting when you know you're in the fight.
It is, and let's be honest with you. I mean, if we'd had a yellow for another reason, I think that Foley's car was a little bit quicker than Grenier there at the end. So I know Grenier would have been controlling his pace with about a minute lead, but I think there could have definitely been a fight with a reset with a yellow anyway for the win.
Schandorf and Matthias Perez Compact, I think their day is coming. They've shown good pace. You have to remember, Matthias still quite new to GT3 racing, and a lot of new tracks as well for him to get to. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds, but I think that team has big days ahead.
Yeah, there's some great teams in that 5-car championship right now. I think everyone certainly has potential to win a race this year. We've now got 2 teams that have stepped on the top step of the podium. We've still got 4 rounds to go, lots to play for.
All right, from the pro class, we turn our attention to Pro-Am, which is hotly contested here, the biggest subscribed class in the series. Jason Daskalos, Lorcan Hannafin will take the 3rd spot. And, you know, good for them to see a big result, get a chance to take home a trophy, do the champagne spray. Do feel like, though, this could have been, and things gone a little bit differently, especially if it had gone clean to the end, this could have been a race win for them.
Yeah, I mean, you get a shootout at the end. They certainly seem to have the race under control. I mean, Morad was right there, and it looked like Hannafin had just kind of kept him at bay. Then you get this restart, and you're always vulnerable, right? You know, everyone's going to be up on the wheel, going for the full attack there to try and get that track position while they're close. And that was obviously too close for comfort. The stewards felt that they had to draw the penalty there on Morad, and that turned their day around, obviously.
Finishing second, Jan Halen, JP Martinez. We talked to JP early in the weekend, and he was so excited. He thought this was a big chance for them. Happy with second, you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's about where they deserve to be on the performance this weekend. Really solid drive by both of them. Home turf, both of them. I'm not sure if Jan's still based here in Florida because he lost his house there, I remember, in the storm a couple of years ago. But either way, he's spent a lot of time here in Florida, so it'll feel like a home race to him. He's had success here at the Sebring 12-hour event as well. But Sargent is just a monster. When you put him behind the wheel and we assume light fuel and new tires, he just sets the timing screens alight.
And we know that he is in the running for that North American component of the GT Academy. One little potential sticking point is he is a Porsche affiliated driver. There's no guarantee that that would be a Porsche seat that would be waiting for him.
Good point.
At Spa.
Deal with that problem.
Correct. Make somebody make that decision, basically, to figure out what to do with you. It would be a shame to not reward the season that he's had so far. It's not done. I should reiterate, there are plenty of other silver drivers that are eligible for it that could enter into that conversation. And in fact, there's more silver drivers eligible here than in any of the other 3 championships. So it is a real contest, but the start to the season he's had is remarkable, to say the least.
I'm not saying it's insurmountable. What we talk about JMF, if they'd gone 3 straight, could they be caught in the championship? That GT Academy, we haven't seen the points yet awarded for this weekend, but you'd have to think that he swept it again.
Here are the points, not about the GT Academy, but the points generally speaking here. Washington and Sargent now have taken the championship lead back. They had it leaving Sonoma, of course, then dropped down a little bit, but have it by 7 tallies over Dave Musial Jr., Ryan Yardley. Just an immensely consistent season from them. Just missed the podium today.
Yeah, another solid run. Didn't seem like the car had the ultimate pace when he was going heads up. Yardley against Sargent looked like that GMG Porsche just has a little bit extra for some reason over the other Porsches. So that's fascinating to watch.
Can't count out JP Martinez and Jan Halen either. Only 14 points out of the lead. They've been on the podium in every race so far.
Yeah, really consistent run. You expect that from Jan Halen, and he's certainly doing a great tutelage job on Martinez there. And home turf, as you said, he's raced there many times at Sebring, so he came in with a bundle of confidence, and that was rewarded with another podium run here today.
After the podium at Coda, Therese Lalo Thomas Barrel had to settle for just 8th place today. Nevertheless, still on 32 points within striking distance of that top group, and they'll regroup heading to the next race at Road Atlanta. So the AM class will receive their podiums. A, of course, is Jay Schreiben and Oz Negri. Great job by them to make it to the finish. A dramatic day here at Sebring comes to a close, and next we turn the attention to Road Atlanta. Next trip on the calendar for GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. June 12th through the 14th. We'll see you there, but for now, so long from Florida.